Friday Eve from the opening drive on 101 ESPN. Good to have you with us. Brooke Grimsley is here. Super Bowl champ Kerry Davis is here. I'm Randy Carricker. CD putting on his official St. Louis Chess Club cap as we get started.
There you go.
I love chess. I actually was going to go get a membership at the St. Louis Chess Club.
I think we can. We know people.
Yeah, we should make that happen. I want to play one of those really, one of those guys that.
They literally have
see
world
how,
champs come in.
Yeah, I want to. I just want to see how quick it happens. I love
Have you seen just like how fast that they maneuver it? Chess masters.
Carrie, they're going to get you in 5 to 7 moves.
Oh, no way.
Yes.
Oh, no way.
Oh, yes, indeed.
No way.
Oh, yes, indeed.
No way.
Yep. Yeah.
Not 5 to 7.
I think I might be overrating.
You might
actually
be underrating me, actually. How about that?
It's 7:01.
How about that?
How about that? Your time check at 7:01 brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. If you didn't know, you can watch us on the YouTube this morning. All you need to do is go to 101 or go to the YouTube channel, youtube.com, and then go to 101 ESPN STL. And our YouTube channel is brought to you by Air Alliance Team. So come on out and check us out and see our face.
Show us your face.
Show us your face.
Yeah.
So we're looking forward to that.
With us.
And follow us all on the socials. You can follow Brooke on the Twitter machine at Brooke Grimsley. Is that Brooke Grimsley, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
That's
then you
my name.
have Brooke _ Grimsley for the Insta.
Oh, yes. That is very
Right.
specific. But if you put it into the Instagram search bar and just put Brooke Grimsley, I don't think that there's anybody else out there with that name. Maybe.
And last night you retweeted part of our Mafia conversation on the Twitter machine, which was very funny.
I did. It was very informative. I did go on a little bit of a rabbit hole or down a rabbit hole of it. I find those stories so intriguing. And then I asked David, my fiance, who's from here, I was like, were the car bombings like a big issue here? He's like, oh, yeah. I was like, how did I not know this?
Yeah. We're good at that.
I feel like when you move here to St. Louis, like that should be one of the first things. Like, where'd you go to high school? And hey, do you know about the car bombing issue that we had?
I don't know if you should be good at that.
Hell, we're the #1 murder city in the country. Not in the world.
Those numbers we're going to say inflated because,
Yeah, okay. That's fair.
Because if you combine the city and the county, it's not as bad as people like it to like to make it pretend it to be.
But that doesn't work for national media, though,
But what's
Gary.
the #1 or not? I mean, you want to be a champion.
I'd rather. I don't think you can be a champion in that.
I don't know. Hey, everything we want is on the other side of hard. Nobody said it was going to be easy.
Monty Williams, yes, indeed.
I maintain that like the craziest 10 years in like American history that doesn't get talked about is the 80s. Because you go back and you look at like planes were getting hijacked, cars were blowing up, and people were just like, "Hey, we just got to keep going about living our day."
I told one of my players that the 80s was a different time, man. You don't understand. Like I literally drove in a car without seatbelts. Like we just and my dad had a car. This is no lie. He had a car that didn't have seatbelts, and the brakes went out. So
Excuse me?
we were trying to just.
That was a
make it
gamble
home.
every day.
Every day, man. The 80s was a wild time.
It was a simpler time, no doubt about it. Here's what we got coming up on the show today. Greg Amsinger from MLB Network at the bottom of the hour. You've got Hall of Famer Bernie Federko with our Thursday visit with him coming up at 8:15. 8:45, the voice of your Missouri, well, not all of your Missouri Tigers. Mike Kelly will join us. It's somebody's wearing an ILLI and
Oh, there you go.
hoodie. And then we're also going to talk to Jeremy Rutherford, our Blues insider from The Athletic, coming up at 9:15. The baseball playoffs have started, and each of the wild card series has ended. Welcome to our world. Blue Jays, Rays, Marlins.
Yeah.
We were waiting on you.
Yeah. Welcome
It was
to our
quick.
world.
Yeah.
It was. So,
Almost like you didn't even play.
Hey, congratulations to Sonny Gray. Sonny came home. He's making himself a few dollars, isn't he?
Yeah.
By pitching well down the stretch, relatively speaking. And then 5 shutout innings. He's a horse. 5 shutout innings. Yeah, what? Why are you guys laughing?
Look, they should have probably left him in the game. I don't know why maybe they didn't, but Randy, Sonny didn't look bad. He looked good.
He looked good. Now,
does that change your mind a little bit?
well, I'm more inclined to take a look at the 10-year body of work rather than they got a victory. He threw 5 innings.
He got the win next to his name. That doesn't count in your book.
No, it's good. I would just prefer to have. I would prefer to have what we had last night. Now the Twins do win by a score of 2-0 over the Jays, but then last night Aaron Nola goes 7 scoreless. Now that's a horse.
Yeah.
And the Phillies beat the Marlins by a score of 7-1. And number one, Sonny Gray beat a better lineup in the Blue Jays than Aaron Nola did in the Marlins. But those 2 free agents, interestingly, pitching on the same day in the postseason. If you were going to take a playoff performance, would you rather have Gray or Nola?
Ooh, I'm going to have to take Nola. I mean, the 7 scoreless, if we're just looking at specifically those games, the 7 scoreless, now they could have let Sonny go deeper into the game, and that was more of a managerial decision, but Aaron Nola looked really, really good. I mean, I don't know how many extra million he added to what he's probably going to get in this postseason or at this offseason, but he looked really good.
When I'm looking at the Phillies, I just wonder, how good does Rob Thompson feel knowing that I got Zach Wheeler going in game 1. I got Aaron Nola going in game 2. My bullpen isn't going to be stressed out going into the next series. Like, we're okay.
Well,
we're
you say we're okay, but then it's Atlanta.
That is an issue. But they're a division rival, so you never know.
Yeah, the key for Philadelphia last night, in addition to Aaron Nola, was Bryson Stott, who has a tendency to step up big and did again last night.
And now bring up Bryson Stott.
They get the bases loaded. 1 out.
Infielders in at the corners, and Stott drives one to right. That's deep. That is gone. A grand slam for Stott.
Bryson Stott with another big hit in the postseason for Philadelphia. They roll over the Marlins by a score of 7-1. Meanwhile, the Rangers trampled the Rays 7-1. Greg Amsinger is going to be unhappy today because he picked the Rays to win the World Series at the beginning of the season, and they were eliminated in 2 by the Texas Rangers of Jordan Montgomery and Chris Stratton. So congratulations to them. And oh, by the way, you've got old school baseball in Rob Thompson. You've got old school baseball in Bruce Bochy. And those teams advance. And then you've got the cutting edge, let's use our bullpen for 8 innings Brewers, who fall to the Diamondbacks by a score of 5-2. And the Brewers still haven't been to the World Series since 1982 when they were in the American League. Craig Counsell says, like some other managers and front offices, hey, it's kind of a dice roll once you get to the playoffs.
The playoffs are a tough animal to conquer. They are. And, unfortunately, we have not. I mean, we made a good run in 18, and and then it's been series that we haven't been able to get over the hump in.
And so now he's just going to move on to the Mets. By the way, he is former Cardinal Zach Gallen. 6 innings, 2 runs. He struck out 4, walked 3. The former Cardinal farmhand who was part of the Marcell Ozuna deal was fantastic for the Diamondbacks, who are going to play the Dodgers in the next round.
Yeah, Cardinals got a couple of victories here. The starting pitchers, we got a couple of pitchers, got a couple of starting victories. We're rolling along here in these playoffs.
No, it's not us.
It's not. But they're our guys.
Yeah.
So that technically it is us.
Well, yeah, if you want to.
if you want to count it for that, yeah. So, technically.
Well, then let's.
We're looking at the sunshine and lollipops of it.
There's nothing wrong with sunshine lollipops. So
you have to.
Then let's look at it this way. The winning RBI yesterday for the Texas Rangers came from one Adolis Garcia.
See what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. How well we're playing.
Yeah.
We're playing great.
The NL Central is very interesting because Bob Nightingale tweeted this out last night, and you realize it once you see that number here that he has. The last time the NL Central team won a postseason series was in 2019. The division is
the Cardinals, by the way.
Yes, 2-20 in postseason play. What does that say about the NL Central?
That the other divisions are better in the postseason?
That maybe the other divisions are doing a little bit more when it comes to roster construction and building their roster to maybe last a little bit longer in the postseason?
Absolutely.
Coastal elites are taking over baseball.
Yeah, they are. There's no doubt about it. Last night in Van Blankencouvre, St. Louis City SC falls 3-0 on the pitch in Vancouver. The St. Louis City had great kits on the pitch, but they are clean-sheeted by Van Blankencouvre. So now it really is Van Blankencouvre 3-0 over City SC. Orlando City moved above STL for the second overall spot in the league with 57 points after their win last night. Who calls Orlando City Orlando City? Nobody.
Nobody. It's just Orlando.
Although,
They're an
what
FC.
do we call us?
They're an FC too.
Yeah.
It's Orlando City FC.
FC?
I guess nobody really calls St. Louis City either.
No.
Well, there is the city.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But we've got
This is true.
Thank you very much.
It's St. Louis County, St. Louis City.
We've got Blues hockey tonight for you. The Blues are at Dallas, 6 o'clock pregame here on 101 ESPN. And then maybe the game of the year, Thursday Night Football. If you don't have Amazon Prime, get it now. Get it today. Bears and Commanders. Bears and Commanders on Prime, Amazon Prime.
Whoa.
How'd you like to pay $1 billion or whatever they paid for that? Those rights fees. How'd you like to be Jeff Bezos sitting back in your recliner today, turning on your channel and saying, holy cow, I'm paying for this?
I said last year, I don't think he maybe didn't watch much football because he got a lot of terrible games last year.
Yeah.
And maybe the NFL is like, yeah, we'll pay you. You can do this, but we're going to give you the worst of the worst, pal.
He'll try to start thinking of ways to make it more interesting. Like, can we play this in space, possibly, for better ratings?
They're going to London. We'll go out of space. How about that?
We are
Try and top that.
Off and running on this edition of the opening drive. By the way, attention Scott Air Force Base for service members, your families, and anyone currently on base. Join the Fast Lane today for a special military appreciation, a live broadcast from 2 to 6. The Fast Lane will be there. I believe the Riz Show is going to head on out there for a podcast as well. It's at the Exchange at Scott Air Force Base, brought to you by Budweiser and by Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling. It's today. It's our special military appreciation day, the Fast Lane live at Scott Air Force Base. Coming up, get your text into the Air Comfort Service text line, 314-399-9646, 314-399. Yo-ho! What are you sick of? We'll tell you what we are next on 101 ESPN. All right, if you're sick of it, just send us a text 314-399-9646, 314-399 YO-HO. That is the Air Comfort Service text line. Guys, I am sick of people who are sick of Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. You know, you haven't missed one play. You have not missed one single play because somebody showed Taylor Swift on your television screen. They have not interrupted the pace of the play. They aren't calling timeout so that they can show Taylor Swift. It's a pop culture thing. Now the NFL is even having to send out releases saying, hey, we lean into pop culture and entertainment and sports. Yeah, I have no problem with that. They're in the entertainment business. Why would anybody complain when it doesn't interfere with your football game? Unless you really like watching the huddle.
I don't like watching the huddle. I don't. I watch the game I'm one of the people that actually listens to the announcers. I know there are people that watch games on mute and don't want to hear what they have to say. I find it interesting and intriguing what they have to say. I don't particularly care to see what people in the crowd are doing. Like if I'm at the game, cool. Yeah, they got the kiss cam. They got the guys running on the field. The Mizzou game chasing down the cart and falling.
Which is awesome.
All of that is wonderful entertainment in between, snaps, or between quarters, or in between, possessions. It's fine.
And that's where we see Taylor Swift.
Yeah, but I don't need to see her she's here and this, that. I want to watch football. I don't want to be
watching football.
Again,
you haven't missed a play, Gary. That's my point.
The Swifties to come after me, but I may want to hear about what is going on with the actual players in that moment.
Even if it's just like a quick cutaway, it's not terrible. She's there. She's a global superstar. You have to talk about it. It would be like the giant elephant in the room. Yeah, giant elephant in the room.
But we've had presidents show up to games, and they haven't showed them that much.
They aren't as famous.
Oh, my goodness.
Well, as was asked of Babe Ruth one time when he was making more money than the president of the United States was. He said, well, the president didn't have as good a year.
Oh, that's good.
So when we find out that they are no longer dating, and is the world going to just implode? How does this work when we figure out that they are, when they both release statements saying, Travis and I and Taylor and I are better off as friends. We find ourselves in a better space as friends. How does that work?
People, and by the way, the NFL set an all-time record for girls 12 to 17 watching a football game on Sunday night.
Interesting.
Those Swifties, they might be a little bit devastated, and that'll bother them. I will be summarily unaffected. It doesn't matter.
It's part of it. It's part of the drama of it.
Why do we need to keep seeing? Why do we keep talking about it?
Because she's a superstar.
Because there is a portion of the population that is thrilled. And by the way, the NFL cultivating a young demographic. You get those 12 to 17-year-old girls, they become 18 to 65-year-old women who are NFL fans that are spending money on the NFL.
I don't think they're going to keep watching when she goes away.
You never know. And that's the thing.
The female fandom of the NFL is unbelievable and extraordinarily profitable.
And that's the thing is that my one issue with some of it is where people are kind of making it seem like, no, the NFL is our thing. You can't come in here, new people, like new girls. It's like it would be like trying to gatekeep like the most popular artists out there, or like a Taylor Swift. Be like, no, no new Swifties or anything like that. Like nobody. That's the thing is that you should be accepting of new fans when they come in and not trying to push them out.
Make that umbrella as big as you can.
Exactly.
Right? And Matthew put his hand up when I said soccer because it's funny because you never talk about soccer, and then when we talk about soccer, you don't know what you're talking about. Stop talking about soccer.
Randy, did you go see Taylor Swift when she was playing a country fair? Did you go see professional soccer when it was at Soccer Park? No, then you're not allowed to be a fan now.
I did go see it at Soccer Park.
I did too.
Did you watch the NFL when they were playing in leather helmets? Then how can you watch it now? Fairweather fans, bandwagoners. Oh, God.
Texter from the 314 says if it was Beyonce, CD would have a different tune.
Oh, man.
But you got to meet Beyonce.
I did get to meet Beyonce.
CD got to meet Destiny's Child.
We got to go skating with him when I was in college.
And I'm jealous of that.
Good times. Yep. So you know what I'm sick of? I'm sick of Joe Burrow's calf. Like, I'm over it. I just the calf, not him, not the rest of him. Just the one calf that is causing the Cincinnati Bengals to perform that poorly. I love offense. I love explosive offenses. I love that they have T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd and Jamar Chase and Mixon. I love that they have all of these weapons, and I hate that they can't get anybody involved.
Here's the thing, CD. and I'm with you on this, but Joe Burrow is running afeared. He's playing because he knows that if he doesn't, he's going to get Wally pipped by one A.J. McCarron.
I don't think that's he just got paid $200+ million. I think he's safe.
Trent Green got the big contract, didn't he?
He didn't get that much.
Well, not that much. But relatively speaking, back in the day, he did. And he wound up as a chief.
$250 million is a lot of money.
It is a lot of money.
A.J. McCarron's just waiting in the wings for that opportunity. He's like, oh, you ready? Ready? Didn't they say that Joe Burrow said that he's fine to go? He feels better now?
Yeah, he doesn't look like it, though.
He's also talking to Aaron Rodgers all the time about torn Achilles, so you got to go with that, too.
Man.
Well, you know what I am sick of, guys? And it's something that we'd like to talk about a lot here on the opening drive. And that is when analytics start to take over the game that we all love, which is baseball. And you saw that last night with the Blue Jays manager, John Schneider. What in the world happened there? After just 3 innings, 47 pitches, guys, he goes and pulls out Jose Barrios. And I think everybody in the world was thinking, what in the world is going on right now? That's a crazy decision. And even Michael K., he said something along the lines of, bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see how that one plays out. And guys, if you saw what happened in the end there, we know what happened, who won. It didn't play out well in that situation. So that is what I'm sick of. I'm sick of when you have Barrios just pitching 3 innings, 47 pitches. Why in the world would you take him out in that situation? And what was the thought process behind that? And Schneider revealed that after the game.
Yeah, we had a few different plans in place. Jose was aware of it. He had electric stuff, tough to take him out. I think with the way that they're constructed, you want to utilize your whole roster, and it didn't work out. I think you can look at it broadly and say it didn't work out because they scored 2 runs and we did make a change. You can also look at the fact that it didn't work out and we didn't take advantage of at-bats we have with runners in scoring position.
So this is my question. Why wasn't there a game plan or strategy to keep Barrios in the game? And I just don't get it, because to me, that's when you're playing the numbers game rather than what is best for the game in that situation. We hear everybody, the hitters and the pitchers, talking about where sometimes they have to go back to simplifying things, not paying attention to all the numbers, letting that kind of cloud their judgment. Do we not talk enough about possibly the managers overanalyzing these situations, over-managing the situations, overthinking the situations? There is no way that was a decision that was made without some sort of numbers involved. And even if you had that meeting early on the day where you guys decided that in this situation we're going to take him out, why not in that game, in that situation, when you see what's going on, keep Barrios in?
Craig Counsell said it's hard to win in the playoffs. It is. It's harder when you make dumb decisions. Like, it's so much harder to win when you go into a game. He said it. We went in with a plan. Like, you made a decision pregame that you were going to allow him to pitch set number of pitches or set number of innings, and then you were going to take it. We're going to flash. We're going to do something special. And what you did was you put your team in a position to lose. And good for you. You deserve it. I don't feel bad for people when they make decisions like that. That is, trust your guys. If a guy is rolling, like you may have a situation where, running backs take every other series. Well, this guy he's rolling. We're going to ride the hot hand. What did DeMarco say? You got to ride the hot guy?
Ride the hot guy, yep.
You got to ride the hot guy, as DeMarco said. And you let them play. And so you don't make that decision, especially in that moment. You have to say, you know what? I know we had a plan going in, but we didn't expect this guy to be performing this well, so let's keep him in and see how it goes.
CD, when you're coaching a football game, you go in with a plan, right? Because, of course, you're prepared. Yeah. Any coach does that, which I get that. I get what Schneider's saying, that you should have a game plan going in. But, okay, you go in there, and things start going haywire during the game. Do you just stick with that plan, or do you make adjustments?
I make adjustments. I have a list of 10 plays that I want to run to start the game off. And they kind of go in order, assuming that first down, second down, maybe pick up the first down, third and short, whatever it may be. But if the third play is supposed to be a run up the middle and it's 3rd and 20 or it's 3rd and 8, I'm probably going to change that play. I'm probably going to go off script and come back to it later. So you have to be able to adapt and adjust.
You guys, I'm just thinking here, and I don't have time to search this. How many World Series has John Schneider won as a manager?
Zero.
How many has Rocco Baldelli won? And then how many has Bruce Bochy won?
He won a few.
He's won 3.
He's won a few.
He's won 3 by letting his
Every
pitchers
other year for a while.
let pitch. If you're going to pay guys, and we pay the highest paid players in the game, they're Scherzer, Verlander, Garrett Cole. Those are the highest paid guys. Just let them do their job. All right, what do we got on the text line, Matthew? It drives me nuts that baseball has come to this, and it's nerd ball. It's stupid, and it was a stupid, completely stupid.
That's
move.
all I've been waiting on.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah, it's a bunch of guys that number crunching and
Exactly. And that's
they
my
should work well.
Sick of it. CD being a hater.
ILL.
You're not
anyone
Aye.
that has an issue.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just one last thing on the whole situation is if you want to grow the game of baseball, and I tweeted this out last night, if you want to grow the game of baseball, situations like that is something that is not, it's just a silly, boneheaded move to pull him out of that situation. And people want to see the game managed by people, not a computer, right?
Yes.
And so when you're bringing in a new audience and they see that, they're like, what is the strategy here? Why is it, this doesn't make any sense?
Bob Costas, I don't know if it was this past opening day or the opening day before, but he lamented the thought that we've lost the great pitching matchup. I mean, yesterday we should have been really excited. Oh, we got Berrios and Gray. But then Berrios is out after the 3rd and Gray is out after the 5th. Baseball used to be, I want to see Valenzuela pitch against Andujar. I want to see Carpenter pitch against Halladay. We don't have that anymore because they've taken the great starting pitching pairing out of baseball.
10 innings from Blackjack Morris.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Against Smoltz, by the way, I think who went 9.
He went 9.
Yeah.
Give me that.
Yeah.
I'm sick of it. NFL and NCAA players not wearing their mouth guards, just hanging off their face masks. This is a new fashion statement? Come on.
I don't care about it. Did Steph Curry start this?
No, this is, I mean, I would wear mine. I told you I had my coach called me in one day and said, hey, you're giving away what play we're running. I said, what are you talking about? He said, when it's a pass, you got your mouthpiece in your helmet. When it's a run, it's in your mouth. I was like, oh, yeah. I take that. I would take it out. I need to breathe. So, yeah, it's been going on for a while.
Did you notice the other night when Patrick Mahomes went on that 25-yard 3rd down run that he had his tongue out?
Oh.
And then you got, so I put together a little collage of Michael and Albert with their tongues sticking out, and then Mahomes. All the best guys. Yeah, it's not mouth guards, it's tongues.
There you go.
Just ask Lars Newbart. He would do that a lot.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
He's one of the best guys.
One swift stop is okay, but I'm sick of it. Stop going back like it's a buffet.
Wait, what?
Say it again.
He said one swift stop is okay.
Does Swifty go to
But I'm
Minneapolis?
sick of it. Stop going back like it's a buffet.
Minneapolis.
That's where they are this weekend.
Against the Vikings? There's no need to go to
I don't think so.
Minnesota.
Probably not.
Here's the other thing.
I don't see her doing that.
So my daughter Katie and I scoped this out. There's no way possible for Swifty to make it to the Super Bowl.
She's
got a concert in Tokyo that will end at about 10 a.m. St. Louis time, and it's a 12-hour flight back, right, Brooke? You've done that flight.
Well, it was 15 hours for me because I went from Dallas to Tokyo. So I went from Nashville, Dallas. Yeah.
Yeah. So this was.
But she would have direct
12-hour commercial.
Yeah, but still, it ends at 10 o'clock St. Louis time, and the Super Bowl starts. 10 o'clock. She would have no physical way to get there. Unless she does the Star Trek Beam Me Up Scotty thing. Because the concert starts, the concert would start at 10 a.m. St. Louis time.
Well, little do you know, Taylor Swift owns a Concorde.
Okay, so 10, 11. So she gets on a plane at 2 in the afternoon in Tokyo and gets to Vegas and the game by 5:40?
No way.
In 3 hours and 40 minutes?
Not happening.
Biggest pop star in the world.
Okay, that's big.
That is big. She can find a way to get
let's
to
do
her
one more.
man.
Sick of it. Analytics is ruining baseball. Bring back Tony La Russa. Bring back Dave Duncan.
Well, first of all, it already ruined baseball. And what, thank goodness, Theo Epstein is trying to do is remove the analytics aspect of it. They did a really good job this year with some of the things that they did in expanding the bases and eliminating the shift. Those are all good things, but they've got work to do in terms of getting people to understand why people like baseball. That's the problem is all these math fans, which is nothing wrong with liking math. I love people that like math, but here's the thing. When you're a math fan and not a baseball fan, and baseball suffers because you like math, then that's where we have a problem. And the math people, give them credit, they figured things out, but they didn't figure out how to make their sport more entertaining. They made it much less entertaining. And taking out Berrios yesterday was stupid.
Yeah. No, it was. There was just no way to make sense of it.
No.
Terrible decisions.
It was.
Terrible people.
Thanks very much for your text. Greg Amsinger joins us next. Greg was up late last night, so it'll be interesting to see how he's reacting to his Rays getting knocked out of the playoffs. Greg Amsinger, MLB Network, next on 101 ESPN.
This is Rocc with your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. St. Louis City SC falls in their penultimate game of the regular season to Van Blankencover 3-0. They will be back in action in about 15 days on the 21st of October for their last game of the season when they host the Seattle Sounders at City Park. By the way, when it comes to the standings in the MLS, still number 1 in the West, but they have fallen to number 3 overall in the MLS as Orlando City did win last night and moved above them with 57 total points. Also last night, wild cards games 2. It was the Twins over the Blue Jays 2-0, Rangers over the Rays 7-1, Phillies over the Marlins 7-1 as well, and D-backs over the Brewers 5-2. All of those series go the winner's way, 2-0. We move on to the next round of the MLB playoffs. That is your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff. Find your roads and shop 24/7 at londoff.com and londoffautoplex.com. Are you kidding me?
Brooke Grimsley and Super Bowl champ Kerry Davis. I'm Randy Carricker, and we go to the celebrity line now. And the lead anchor for MLB Network happens to be a native of St. Louis, a product of the Lindenwood University. He is the great Greg Amsinger, who was up late last night on MLB Tonight, but does the quick turnaround just so that he can be on the opening drive on 101 ESPN. Good morning, Greg. How you doing?
You know what? I'm doing much better now because a year ago these postseason shows would end at like 2 a.m. without a pitch clock. I mean, it'd take forever. And last night it ended at like 12:30 in the morning Eastern time. In previous years, when I did these shows on your radio station, I would get done with the interview and then I'd go back to bed, only to wake up in a panic, going, "What the hell did I say on the radio?" Like, I had no idea. Now I'm much more vibrant and coherent. So I think that's going to be better for everyone involved.
Okay, I want to go back to last week where I promised you that I would have some nicknames. And so with the Cardinals have some good built-in nicknames. Brendan Donovan is Donnie Baseball. You okay with that?
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, okay. Absolutely.
Lars Nootbaar, obviously, Newt. Okay.
Yeah.
How do you like the Panamanian catcher, Ivan Herrera, being the Panamanian strongman? Remember Manuel Noriega? And he was known as the Panamanian. How about if Panamanian strongman Ivan Herrera?
If you have to ask someone if they know that, I don't know if that nickname necessarily works.
Okay.
It's a good starting point. It's a really good starting point. It reminds me of a segment I did 2 nights ago. I'm in the production meeting. I go, "Hey, they didn't swing at Kevin Gossman's splitter. Let's do a segment where we do a close-up on Cam Maven." I go, "Cam, how did they avoid the best pitch in baseball, Kevin Gossman's splitter?" And I go, and then Cam looks into the camera and spits on the floor. And they go, "Whoa!" And I go, "Well, they spit on the splitter, right? Like, we'll just put newspapers down, and he'll spit on the ground." And they're like, "No, let's work with this, Greg. It's a good idea." And then they do the sound effect instead. So I see where you're going, but let's just collaborate a bit more.
Okay, and then one more. And by the way, Mason Wynn already has 2 nicknames, and Jordan Walker's J-Dub. That's easy. Mason Wynn has his middle name, which is Blaze, which he's called, which fits. And then he's also got the nickname, St. Louis-based, by the way, Energizer Bunny. But he's from Kingwood, Texas. He's got a great arm, and the ball pops off of his bat. How about if Mason Wynn is the Kingwood Cannon?
No, I love that. That's outstanding work. That is outstanding work. That's effort, Randy.
Thank you.
Is clearly poured in effort on that one. So I'm very proud of you, and you ended with a bang. That's really all I asked for in this segment.
I appreciate it. We need nicknames in baseball.
You know what? Real quickly, you remember George Grand, who might be one of the most lovely people that's ever been in broadcasting? I adore him. Amazing broadcaster. The one thing I didn't like when I was a kid, everyone's nickname were their initials. Yeah. I was like, oh, man. Like, Terry Pendleton was TP. I'm like, Tom Bernansky, TB. I'm like, oh, come on, man. The initial nickname, I don't like when people go, "Hey, GA," I'm like, "Yo, bro, call me anything. You can actually say something awful about me. I'd rather you call me a terrible nickname than call me GA.
Yeah, and think about
you don't feel special. You just don't.
Greg, 40 years later, the Berman nicknames stand up. Terry Swimming Pool, Bert Be Home Bly Levin, Billy Duran Doran. It's just you remember all of those Berman nicknames, which were so creative and so good.
All right, real quick, to be honest, to all of you, what were your childhood nicknames? I'll tell you mine. I just don't tell anybody, okay? I'll tell you what mine is.
Got it.
Mine, no joke, first day of pre-K. They asked what my name was, and I looked them in the eye. This is all I was called. I literally didn't know my name. This is a form of child abuse, by the way, okay? I looked at my pre-K teacher and said, "Greggy Goo Goo." I literally thought my name was Greggy Goo Goo because I was a chubby boy, okay, and my mom and dad called me Goo Goo all the time.
I got Cracker a lot, as you might guess, so that was kind of mine. Cracker.
Wait. What?
Yeah. Cracker.
What?
Yeah, I wasn't happy about it. I wasn't proud, but yeah, that's what it was.
Greg, mine was growing up. It was Fats, and when I got to college, they called me Burger, and they called me Burger because they said I was one burger away from playing offensive line.
That's good.
Brooke?
I really didn't have it. I don't know if that's more of like a guy thing. I got Brookie G. Grim Reaper was just kind of like a fun one that has still continued to go along. That's about it. Those are the only ones. That I've had.
Your parents just didn't play. They weren't that playful, I guess.
I guess.
I apologize.
That's a form of child abuse. So that's what.
Yeah, I mean, my poor daughter. I have never called my daughter Vanessa. I gave her the name. I was in love with Vanessa Williams when I was a kid, so I always wanted a daughter named Vanessa. But then she's born, and I called her everything but Vanessa. I called her Nessa Bo Nessa, then just Bo Nessa. Then I don't know where I came up with this one. Fruit salad. Okay. I called her fruit salad for like 4 months. This is when she was a child. Then I called her Fruity. Then I called her Fruity Pebbles. Then I called her Pebs. Like, as a poor child, I got a lot of issues.
That's amazing.
Baseball.
Well, speaking of baseball, Greg, what did you think about the two pitchers that the Cardinals have reportedly been linked to, Aaron Nola and Sonny Gray, last night with their performances? Is there one that possibly stood out to you more than the others? I know that we would like to have both here in St. Louis, but that would be a very expensive possibility.
I think Aaron Nola is the number one target on John Mozeliak's list. Number one. He's everything he loves. You know, it's funny because Dan Plesac always says, you know, there are two types of pitchers. They're the horses, and the guys that give you innings, and the aces, the guys that swing and miss, you strike everybody out. They're the number one game one guy. There are very few that are a horse's ace, that they can do both, okay? And that is what Aaron Nola is. Aaron Nola gives you innings. He was terrific again last night. He doesn't overpower you, but that, to me, that means he can stand the test of time. The guys that throw 99 miles an hour, good luck not being on the IL because it's just not normal to do that on the regular. So he's learned how to pitch. His arm slot's a little lower, which plays for durability somehow, whereas Sonny Gray, also durable, but he doesn't go deep into games. Just like yesterday's game in Minnesota, he's a 5-and-dive guy. But those 5 innings, he'll win an ERA title by throwing a bunch of 5-inning starts. The Cardinals need someone who gives them a break every 5th day from going to what will be a revamped bullpen. So I think Aaron Nola, you asked me last week, between Blake Snell and Aaron Nola, who do you think the Cardinals would go to? And I said, well, who am I? Am I John Mozeliak or am I Greg Amsinger? John Mozeliak's picking Aaron Nola over Blake Snell every day of the week, and I think he's clearly the number one target for the Cardinals this offseason.
Greg, I would assume that this morning Blue Jay fans are a little bit irate with John Schneider pulling Berrios. What did you think about that? And what are your thoughts on the analytics just taking over the game in the manner in which it is?
Analytics, they're a great roadmap of how to win the long term, okay? And it's like, working with someone on free throws. If analytics say your elbow needs to be in, and even if you miss a few, don't worry about that because we're playing an entire season over 80 games. You just focus on keeping your elbow in, even if it doesn't feel right. I know you're an NBA player now, but we're just going to make this adjustment. We think over the long term, it's going to help you out. But then all of a sudden, with 4 seconds to go and your team's down by 2 in the playoffs, you have to shoot 2 free throws. These 2 free throws have to go in or your season's over. Analytics, they've never done that before. Many of these people never played catch with their father before, so they don't understand. They don't understand the humanity of sports. They don't understand that humans play these things. So when you stand at the free throw line and you have to make 2 free throws, all of a sudden the ball's heavy, the rim's far away. It just feels different, right? Yeah. Well, in the playoffs, you can have a roadmap to winning a baseball game in the regular season. But once you get to the playoffs, when everyone tightens up, when everyone's nervous, there's a reason why Evan Longoria is valuable in the playoffs, or Josh Donaldson played his butt off in the playoffs, or Carlos Correa, who looked like a bust all season long, looks like the same Carlos Correa with the Houston Astros. The veterans know how to play baseball. They don't. Some of these guys say, some of these kids, you ask them and you go, "Hey, what sport do you play?" "I hit baseballs." "Oh, really? You hit baseballs?" "Oh, I throw baseballs." But there are very few who know how to play baseball. They play baseball, right? Well, John Schneider got in the way, and you can tell he reluctantly walked to the mound. He put his head down. It was the walk of shame. It was like walking to a college campus wearing the same clothes from the night before at 11 a.m. the next day. That's the walk John Schneider made, the walk of shame to go pull Barrios from that game. He had the human element on his side. This is his former ballpark. He was booed by many of these fans that were at that game for the Minnesota Twins. They didn't want him back. So what does he do? He dominates. His body language was electric. He couldn't wait for the next batter to step up, one of his former teammates, so he could punch him out. But because the roadmap that was made the night before from a group of people that aren't on the field said, no matter what, you're pulling him. He's halfway through his second time through the lineup. And we're going to bring in Kikuchi because we've detached ourselves. Do you know what that looked like? I'm going to give you another analogy. Clearly, I communicate through analogies. But let's say we draw up a play, right? And I go, okay, we're going to get the ball for Randy. No matter what, we're getting the ball to Randy. We're going to inbound the ball. Brooke, you throw the ball to Randy. All right? Make sure you do that. You know, he's our hottest shooter. Throw the ball to Randy. And then with like 1 second to go, you're looking for Randy, and the other team realizes that you guys are operated by a front office and you make no sense. They put 4 players. They put 4 players on Randy. So Randy's running around with 4 players guarding. And we're standing there. We're like, hey, yo, we're open. Brooks, throw us the ball. But you're like, I got to do what the front office wants me to do. So you lob the ball to Randy. That is what happened last night. And Dan Plesac said to me, he goes, Greg, I get it. I get analytics. I get it. I go, no. We all get it, but we don't want it anymore. We don't want it. We get it, don't want it.
Hey, Greg, in the next round, assuming that all of the division champions that are playing are the favorites, Dodgers over the D-backs, Braves over the Phillies, Orioles over the Rangers, and Houston over the Twins, which of the division champions is ripe for an upset?
I got to tell you, the Houston Astros, to me, everyone thinks that the Bregman popped the bottle champagne combo that he had after they won was awesome. I totally get that. I just don't see them having the pitching depth. I just don't. I can't see how they move on and believe that they're going to go back to the World Series. They're the sexy pick on the American League side to go to the World Series right now. I don't see enough swing and miss in their bullpen. I don't see enough swing and miss. Justin Verlander's last 2 starts were great. Before that, what did you see from Justin Verlander? In his career, what did you see from Justin Verlander in the postseason? To me, I think they are primed to be bounced. And my pick before the season started was Tampa Bay Rays, and I'm very loyal to my picks, okay? I really am. And even though they lost 4 starting pitchers, 4 in their starting rotation, they lost their best position player, Wander Franco, to administrative leave. Brandon Lau, who was hitting homers at second base, gone. Luke Raley, who was one of the breakout players in the American League, gone. I still have to stick with the Tampa Bay Rays. They had no chance of going all the way to the World Series, but I had, for the theater of it, I had to root for it. The Toronto Blue Jays had the best starting pitching of the teams that were left on the American League side, and now they're gone. I think it's wide open now. I truly think the American League side is wide open. As for the other side of the bracket, I think it's unfair that the Braves to play the Phillies. No one feels bad for the Braves. No one does. But you can't have seeding work out this way. The Philadelphia Phillies are clearly the second best team in baseball, and they're red hot right now, and they got Trey Turner playing like a superstar. That's different than they had last year. They don't have Bryce Harper rushing back from a broken hand with screws in his wrist this year. They have Nick Castellanos with almost 30 home runs and over 100 RBIs. Last year, he had 13 home runs. He had lost all of his slug. They are a much, much better team. They've got 4 closers right now. And there's this other kid named Keperine who's just insane. He might have the greatest slider in all of baseball. He came and pitched the 8th inning last night. So they are loaded for bear, and somehow the Dodgers get to play the Diamondbacks. Like, holy smokes, we got to rethink this. But I think the Atlanta Braves, as great as they are, no joke, could be bounced by the Philadelphia Phillies. That's how high I am on the Phillies right now.
Last thing for Greg Amsinger. Our next segment is Take It or Leave It. Greg Amsinger, take it or leave it. Nolan Arenado is the Cardinals' opening day third baseman in 2024.
I'm taking that. Absolutely taking that. I don't think in any way they're going to move him. They're all in to win next year. And to me, the scuttlebutt of him getting moved, it sounds a lot like the Bob Melvin's definitely not going to be the manager of the San Diego Padres. Only to have AJ Preller come out and be like, I don't know what you guys are talking about. We're friends, and he's going to be the manager next year. So, to me, Nolan Arenado is definitely going to be the opening day third baseman for the Cardinals. No question about it.
You're awesome. We didn't have to give the score of the Lindenwood game against Austin P.
Yeah, you know what? I've been watching that online, and I text all my Lindenwood friends, and then after about halfway through the first quarter, I decided no more texts. We're just going to move on. I left it on in the background. You know what I mean? Hey, they're rebuilding. Listen, it's Division One's hard. So look, as long as the quarterback wasn't pulled halfway through the first quarter, right? Because the analytics department said that's the play. I'm fine with whatever the score was. As long as we're letting the humans play the football game, I'm totally cool with whatever sporting event I'm watching.
I'm on board with you. Greg, you're the best. Thanks so much. We'll be watching MLB tonight throughout the playoffs and the World Series, and this is your busy time of year, so we really appreciate you making the time for us this morning.
All right. Guys, thank you. And Greggy Goo is going to go back to bed.
All right, brother. See you later.
See ya.
The great Greg Amsinger, MLB Network, and a product of the Lindenwood University. Coming up, get your text into the Air Comfort Service text line, 314-399-9646, 314-399-YO-HO. Take it or leave it next on 101 ESPN.
Sumner 1. It's time for Take It or Leave It.
Want to say something? Want to put it out there. If you like it, you can take it. If you don't, send it right back.
Get your text into 314-399-9646 and give us your Take It or Leave It.
Brought to you by Gloria Lou Realty. Visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com and start packing.
That's my final offer. Take it or leave it.
Carrie, Randy, take it or leave it on 101 ESPN. It's great to have you with us, and you can text in 314-399-9646, 314-399.
Yo!
All right, kids, take it or leave it. If the Cardinals were in the playoffs, a starting pitcher would not eclipse 5 innings.
Take it.
Oh, I will take that. Yeah.
Let me get my
Kentucky did get 5 and a third, right?
My handy dandy analytics sheet out and make sure 4 and a third. We're gonna go third time around. Yeah, no, leave it. Oh, take it.
What a waste of money, right? If you're gonna spend $25 million a year, $28 million a year on a pitcher, and not let him get to the 6th inning or the 4th inning, what's the point? Why not just go bullpen game the whole time? If the guy's going to go 3, why not go 2? And why not just make it a bullpen game?
That's a fantastic question.
Why not just play all your starters if you're going to do that at some point? Yeah. Give them 2 innings apiece. Can they? How many games can they play after that? How does that work?
Depends on the guys.
Just play every day. Yeah. Just play them every day. Why not just go, if you want to do it, take your 4 best players, your 4 best starters, and your best closer. Those be your 5 guys that you pitch in every series. 2 innings, 2 innings, 2 innings, 2 innings, closer in the 8th, in the 9th.
Yep. Here's the thing. If you had Jason Isringhausen in his prime, every time you were ahead after the 7th inning, you could have pitched Izzy in the 8th and 9th. Every time you were ahead in the playoffs, you could have pitched Izzy in the 8th and 9th. If you did a game like that, where you only had 2 innings, the starter went 2 innings, number one, the guy might kill you. But if he wouldn't kill you, you could pitch you could start Danny Cox every single game.
There you go.
And he would give you 2 or 3 innings. Every single game.
If you want to do it, take your 4 best pitchers. Yeah. And pitch them every game. If you want to go, just say the hell with it. Yep. We're going to really blow this analytics thing out of the water, and we're going to play our 5 best players in every game of the series.
Back in my day, Bruce Sutter used to say he liked pitching 4 out of every 7 days. He liked pitching 4. That was how he got sharp.
Yeah.
Was by pitching a lot.
And that's the thing, is what you were saying too, is why spend all that money for him if you're not going to utilize him a little bit more than just pulling him after 47 pitches?
And like Greg said, one positive about analytics is that's one of the problems with a guy like Gray, is that if you try it, they know. That's why Gray was pulled after 85 pitches, because there are limitations to what he can do in terms of pitches and innings. But you have to pick your spots. You don't have to do that with Wheeler or Nola.
No.
So the Texas Rangers are heading to Baltimore. Baltimore was the best team in the AL. Mm-hmm. Take it or leave it. They get out of there with the victory in the series.
I'm taking that one.
The Orioles are not going to win that series, I don't think.
That was the one that I thought Greg would pick. Mm-hmm. And I think that is the case. I think Bochy and that staff and the way they collected pitching and built their bullpen, I think they'll be able to handle Baltimore.
I agree.
Yeah, spending money the right and smart way. It seems the right call for them.
How many people are going to be there? They're going to show up.
They'll
in
sell
Baltimore?
out. Yeah, it'll be nuts.
Playoffs?
It'll be bananas. Yeah. And by the way, how about this? We're talking about them upsetting the Orioles, and they're missing DeGrom and they're missing Scherzer. 2 of the top 10 paid pitchers, 2 of the top 5 pitchers in baseball in terms of salary, and they're out.
Take it or leave it, guys. We were talking about the whole Barrios situation. Take it or leave it, it was worse taking him out after 47 pitches than it was taking Blake Snell out in the World Series.
Leave it.
Now, here's the thing. I get it as a big stage, and you could kind of argue maybe a little bit with the Blake Snell situation, but just 47 pitches. You mentioned, Randy, the amount of money that they spent on him. Why would you do that after just 3 innings, essentially?
I can't answer that. I just can't answer. There's no logical
What was
answer.
the point of spending all that money on him?
I don't know.
I don't know, man. I feel like as a coach, as a manager, there are so many tough decisions throughout a game that you have to make, but you have to make them with conviction and be okay with the end result. And if people are going to question it, I just don't feel like taking a player out when he's performing well. That's not when you do that. You don't. If a guy has got it for that day, you're thankful. Whew, thank goodness because it makes my life easier. Yeah. When I got one guy that is on his game for the day, let me get the hell out of the way. I told you all, when you have great players, the worst thing you can do is overcoach them. You get the hell out of the way. You shut up. You don't say they're doing things that you would never, ever be able to do in life. Me included. When you have a great player that is performing, you get the hell out of their way. You shut up. You don't bother them. You stay out of the way. Man, you need some water. Can I get you anything? You help them, but you don't hurt them. You get out of the way and let them do their thing.
And by the way, Brooke, to your point, Barrios got 7 years and $131 million from the Blue Jays.
Yes.
Yikes. All right, Matthew, what do you got on the old text line there? Oh, he didn't forgot that he had to do this.
Well, that's all right. I was looking at the clock. I didn't know if we were going to hit these. Take it or leave it. St. Louis is more excited about Sonny Gray after yesterday.
I think that I'll take it. I do think that St. Louis is. I don't think Randy is. Yeah.
Take it or leave it. Randy is more excited after seeing Sonny Gray.
I'm going to leave it.
Did you hear Greg's description of a horse?
Yeah.
I'm paying for a horse.
Okay.
I'm not paying for Five and Dive.
You had a horse.
Five and Dive.
You had one.
Five and Dive is
he plays for the Texas Rangers.
Yeah,
what happened to him?
I know. I know.
Take it or leave it. Nolan Gorman is in next year's home run derby, representing an AL team.
Ooh.
I don't want to send Nolan on his way.
Congratulations, you're a Seattle Mariner.
I don't want to send him on his way.
No.
I want Nolan to be here.
Okay, say it with me. Logan Gilbert. George
Dylan Cease.
Kirby. Dylan Cease. Exactly. 100%. Now you're thinking. Take it or leave it. I really want to know why Randy asked Amsinger that Arenado question.
Maybe we'll just wondering. Just thinking about it.
We got 3 different texts, by the way, along those lines.
Just wondering.
Just curious.
That was a bit intriguing.
Just fun.
Just a little curious. I don't know. Just life,
Things happen in life.
Yeah.
Take it or leave
you
it.
should question everything this offseason because this is going to be a weird offseason.
The 2024 Cardinals question everything.
There you go.
That's a great, scary motto.
Take it or leave it. Speaking of them, take it or leave it. Jordan Montgomery returns to the St. Louis Cardinals.
Oh, I'm going to leave that.
I'm going to leave that.
Yeah, I am too.
Why would he come back here?
That would be a real watershed move on the part of the Cardinals if they could get a Scott Boras client in here. No, is Montgomery, has he proven himself to be of the level of a Scherzer or Verlander? No, he hasn't. But would he be number one here? He would.
I think that if you want to keep somebody, you don't let your girlfriend go date another guy if you really like him. That's just my opinion. You see what else is going on outside? No, honey, just stay here. Don't go anywhere. You stay with me.
Yeah.
But if you let her leave.
His comment about being reunited with with Mike Maddox was pretty telling.
See if it comes back to you.
Yes, right? You have to set it free to see if it's really truly meant to be, CD.
This ain't going to be meant to be.
Thank you, Matthew.
Thank you, Randy.
And thanks for your texts. We do appreciate them. Coming up here on 101 ESPN, what would be the biggest mistake the Cardinals could make this offseason? That's coming your way on the opening drive on 101 ESPN.
I see what you did.
perspective on the day's top stories.
It's 8:08 in St. Louis. Time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. Okay, we're heading into the offseason for the St. Louis Cardinals, and we're hoping that they do a lot of good things. But what is the worst thing, in your opinion, that the Cardinals could do? What is the biggest mistake the Cardinals could make this offseason?
Mine, well, guys, there's a long list of mistakes they could make. I think obviously everybody's thinking about the pitching, not getting enough starting pitching. Even the bullpen is something that I believe if you have pitching being the number one thing you're going to address, bullpen I think should be 1A right after that. But here's another one. I think one of the biggest mistakes the Cardinals could make this offseason is trading Nolan Arenado. And the reason I say this, let's go back to the trade deadline earlier this season. Do you guys remember those rumors about the Cardinals possibly shopping Nolan Arenado around? Even some talk about him linking him with the Dodgers. What if that is not completely gone? That possibility of Nolan Arenado being moved to the Dodgers or being moved elsewhere, I think that would be a huge mistake on the Cardinals' part for many reasons. Why did you bring him in? Why did they bring Nolan Arenado in, guys?
To win championships, I thought.
Because he's one of the 4 or 5 best players in baseball.
Yes, and that is fantastic that they were able to pull it off. And my assumption and just perception of this is that Nolan Arenado probably assumed that they were going to do more from a roster construction standpoint to make them more competitive. I would be frustrated if I was Nolan Arenado after experiencing what I experienced with the Rockies. He made that very clear what he was upset about. He's turned a new page coming over to St. Louis, and then you think that they will make some more aggressive offseason moves to possibly get some pitching, address some of the issues, and then that doesn't pan out that way. If you're Nolan Arenado, would you not be frustrated in that situation? I think moving on from him this offseason would signal a rebuild because it almost has to change your approach of how you even take on this whole offseason, right? Because would you be going after an Aaron Nola and a Sonny Gray if you were moving on from Nolan Arenado? Because you would be getting, I assume, some young pitching, some other things in return. I just think that moving on from him would be a huge mistake. It would be a big stain in what could have been something huge for the Cardinals and also leave a bad taste in everyone's mouth. Fans' mouths, but also Nolan Arenado's mouth.
I think the biggest mistake would be that if they don't figure out this pitching rotation, this relief pitcher situation, that to me is the biggest mistake they could make in the offseason. The notion, and I think they've already started to make this mistake because John Mozeliak said at one point we need 3 starters, and now there's some backtracking going on. Oh, well, maybe not 3 starters. I think that's a mistake because what you saw at the trade deadline is exactly what you needed. You need 3 guys. Miles Mikolas, Steven Matz, Zach Thompson, those guys can fight for 4, 5, and 6. I mean, 4 and 5, and one of them's going to be the 6th guy. But going out and getting, and not just 3 starters, not just 3 guys that have started in the major leagues, 3 guys that we know that can compete at a high level. When you're watching the playoffs these last couple of days, you see pitchers, starting pitchers that are competing. We need competitive players, guys that take the ball every 5th day and say, get the hell out of my face, manager. Go sit back down in the dugout. I'm going to finish this inning. I'm going to take out this batter, and then we'll discuss this at the end of this inning. I need those guys. I need more fiery guys on this roster, more passionate guys. I know they have passion, but I need some guys to show it outwardly that show up every single day with that emotion and that intention.
And for me, the biggest mistake the Cardinals could make, and I say this with all due respect to Blake Shelton.
Blake Shelton.
What are you laughing at?
He's a country music singer.
Cardinal pitching coach.
No, doesn't he do the voice?
He's a country music, and he's married to Gwen Stefani.
Yeah, no, that's not. No,
Casey Blake. Sorry about that.
We would see Gwen around the stadium, wouldn't we?
Maybe. He might be a really good analytics guy. Okay, he might be a really good pitching coach, but we just didn't see the results. The biggest mistake the Cardinals could make is to go out and spend a bunch of money on pitching without having somebody who has a history of making major league pitchers better. So many guys regressed this past season. I don't know if it was his fault or not, but help out Oli Marmol as much as you can by bringing in somebody with experience at making pitchers better.
Yes.
The biggest mistake they can make is to go out and spend $25 million on Sonny Came Home, or $30 million on Aaron Nola, and then not have them coached up with somebody who has experience and respect from those pitchers.
Now, I will agree with this part, because if those guys, if we get a new pitcher in here and they regress from what they have been, if they take a dip in their play, then you do have to start looking at the coaching and say, hey, maybe they're not being coached as well. I think it happens when guys leave and go play well, but if guys come here and they start to not perform well, that's when you start to have to question, okay, what is our development looking like? What is our coaching and our teaching looking like? Because clearly this guy can perform well in other places and he's not here.
And I don't know James Blake from Adam, but it's just, it bothers me.
Casey.
Oh.
Is it Casey?
No,
What's his name?
Dusty.
My God.
Dusty
He's
Blake.
so confused.
He's been saying every name so far away from it.
Dusty Blake.
Yeah.
That took 5 full minutes. From when Carrie said, no, Randy, it's Casey Blake, to, wait a second, it's not Casey Blake.
You were thinking of Casey Lawrence, and then you combined Dusty Blake with Casey
minutes
Lawrence.
that happened.
You threw me completely off.
Casey Lawrence and Dusty Blake combining for the ultimate.
I was just sitting here.
Terrifying. What's the nickname for that combo? If you were able to
The
combine
dynamic
those.
duo.
It would be.
I thought we were going to go to break
yeah.
and
It's
still
dynamic.
wouldn't have changed it. I thought we were going to go to break with his name being Casey Blake. Oh, my God.
Somebody said, give Robert Blake a chance.
That's today's Fresh Take on 101 ESPN. Coming up, we're going to talk some Blues hockey with our buddy Bernie Federko. The Hall of Famer is next on 101 ESPN.
St. Louis Blues as we head into the Blues Booth. Presented by Boardwalk Hardwood Floors, a proud partner of your St. Louis Blues. Find your perfect new floor at our 4 convenient locations and online at boardwalkhardwood.com.
Brooke Grimsley and Super Bowl champ Kerry Davis. I'm Randy Carricker. We go to the celebrity line now, and our friend, Hall of Famer Bernie Federko of Bally Sports joins us. Good morning, sir. How you doing?
Good morning, Randy. I'm doing great, thank you.
Good. Hey, I love the alacrity with which the NHL preseason occurs. They get right into games, only play 9 preseason games, and we're going to be playing games in a week. A week from tonight, as a matter of fact. The Blues play Dallas in their opener. But that being said, does it seem like we should just get right into games now? Have we seen enough preseason?
I have.
Me too.
and I guarantee you the players have. Things have changed so much, Randy, from the time when I played. I mean, we kind of came to camp to get in shape. But now everybody is in such good physical condition all season long, all summer long. The guys are working out. They skate all the time as well. So I think when they come to camp, probably 2 or 3 preseason games would be enough, but such is the business of the game, and there's still a lot of experimenting going on with teams as they got a bunch of guys on the roster that they still can't make decisions on who's going to be it, and the best way that you can pick the team is by playing these real games, exhibition games. So obviously they got to do it, but I guarantee the guys are really excited about next Thursday. They're not that excited about the next couple of games.
Bernie, it looks like a very veteran-heavy lineup in Dallas. I also saw where a lot of people were very excited with seeing some of the practice lines from the Blues yesterday, because it almost looks like what we might see for when the season starts here soon. You had Buchnevich, Thomas, and Cairo on the top line, Saad, Shin, and Kapanen on the second line, and on the third line, I think this one's really intriguing. You have Rana, Hayes, and Blais on that third line. What do you think about that third line? Possibly.
Yeah, I think that there's still going to probably be some experimenting going on. But I was at practice yesterday too, and watching that, and I think that kind of was what they're set on right now. But I mean, little things, I guess, change. You got to try to find the right chemistry on lines. But I think the lines that they had set up yesterday looked great. I think that a lot of the guys, as you said, are veterans. There's going to be a couple of rookies that maybe are younger guys that are going to kind of fit in somewhere. But I think the roster is pretty well set for the Blues right now, and I think it's just a matter of getting the system to go, the system to work, and make sure that they're very responsible defensively. I think that's going to be the big key. This team, I think, can score, but I think defensively that's what's going to be the most important thing, is making sure that they stop the goals from going into their own net.
Bernie, Buchnevich had 26 goals and 41 assists, second in goals on the team, third in assists on the team, only 63 games. Is he a 90-point scorer, potentially a 100-point scorer this season?
He certainly should be. I mean, especially playing with Cairo and Thomas as well. I mean, Robert, his vision on the ice is so good. He's such a great passer, and really, I love the way Buchnevich plays, because he's got one of those guys that he could do it all, whether you want him to kill penalties, play the power play, or 4-on-4, whatever you need him to do. He's very capable of it. He's very skilled out there, and he's a very competitive. So he's certainly one of the players that they'll be looking for. And the fact that he now, if he gets settled in on that line with Thomas and Cairo, I think that line could be really doing a lot of damage all season long.
Bernie, one of my favorite teams ever that the Blues had was your 1980-81 team. And you remember just being there, and I remember as an observer, it seemed like the team was always looking for that number one defenseman, which they wound up trading for, and it didn't work out. But that's an aside. My point is this. You had Jerry Hart, you had Jack Brownscheitel, you had Bob Hess, who's still here, Rick LaPointe, Brian Maxwell, Joe Micheletti, Craig Norwich. And Bill Stewart was on that team. Certainly no Hall of Famers, probably not even all-star guys, but you were top third in the league in goals against because of the system and obviously the greatness of Mike Liut. My question is, in this day and age, 40 years later, can you still play a defensive system without that stud number one defenseman and be successful in holding the goals against down?
Well, I think we can go back to just 2019, Randy. I mean, I think we look at Petrangelo as being a great defenseman, a really good defenseman, but I don't think he was in what we'd call an all-star defenseman at the time. So I think when you look at that team, with Bouwmeester, I mean, the Blues won the Cup. They had great goaltending, with what Binnington did. But the system was, the Blues played in the in the offensive zone most of the time because they grinded teams. They got the cycle going down in the other end, and they took a lot of pressure off the defense and off the goaltending. So, yes, I really believe that there is it's always nice to have that number one guy, that guy that can play 30 minutes and that guy that is an all-star each and every year. But if you don't have it, you're certainly capable of playing the right system and get everybody on the same page. And, I mean, when you look at the Blues, I mean, we still, Parayko is a very, very good defenseman, very solid. We've talked about Falk. We've got Leddy. Krug, I know that wants to bounce back from the year he had last year. So there is still a lot of potential on this team. So, yeah, it would be nice for Doug Armstrong to find one of those guys. But how many of those are available, Randy, too? There's not a lot of what we call – yeah, exactly. So it's very – so you got to play, and you got to hope that everybody comes together and plays the system that really doesn't allow a lot of goals against.
Bernie, we were talking about the lines, obviously, with the forward group, and it seems like all of that is pretty set, but there's some extra guys who are still competing possibly for a position there. Who do you think is standing out amongst Walker, McEachran, Alexandrov? Is there anybody in that group that you think is sticking out, or even Dean and Bolduc?
Yeah, I don't know, Brooke, if there's anybody that stands out. I mean, that's kind of almost always a decision that has to be made within the organization because you have to find out, who can you hang on to. I mean, you've certainly got salary cap issues and all that when you're going through that. But the guys that need to play too. So if you're looking at some of the young guys to try to keep them on the team, if there's not enough ice time, you've got to let them go down in the American League. They've got to play hockey. Even the younger kids now, like Dean and Bolduc, they have not played at the professional level yet. So it's probably really good for them to spend some time in the minors and gain some confidence and become better players. So these are tough decisions all the time. So I'm going to leave that up to Doug Armstrong. But certainly everybody wants to stay here. Everybody wants to be in the NHL. But I think everybody understands too that if there's no space here, you want to go and play in the minors, and even if you can't get called up, or maybe you can make a mark or make a name that somebody else's, one other team might pick you up. You don't get a chance here.
Bernie, you're looking at a fourth line of potentially Jake Neighbors, Sundqvist, and Toropchenko. What do you see from those guys? How will they help this team this season?
Well, they're just going to have to play very physical hockey. I mean, I think the fourth line carry all the time. Your job is to make sure that you don't get scored against, that you can, can create some, commotion and excitement out there for the fans as well. And by being aggressive, by being energetic. And I think the fourth lines, can do a lot of damage and kind of set the tone for an awful lot of good games. I mean, we go back again, and I keep talking about 2019 when they won the Cup. I mean, the Blues fourth line, with Sundqvist and Barbashev and Steen really was a difference maker. So I think that people look at fourth line and say, no, you're not going to get a lot of ice time. Well, they're not maybe as much as the other team, but just like everything else, you can't play with just three lines. You need a very capable fourth line, and I think that the energy on a young fourth line that the Blues will have, I think this could really make a big difference.
Hey, Bernie, one last thing. The Blues still have a lot of Stanley Cup championship experience. Blake coming back, Sundqvist coming back this year. I think there's 8 or 9 people that have won Stanley Cups. How valuable is that winning experience to a team as you traverse the season?
I think it plays a role. Obviously, it's confidence. The guys and I think the guys that were here back then, I mean, let's not forget that it wasn't a great start to 2018-19 season, and it wasn't until after Christmas, after January 1st, where this team kind of turned it around and everybody got on the same page. But I think you look at it more so as Randy, the guys, especially a guy like Blake, comes back. Things didn't work out, for him. When he went to New York, he had success here, although he didn't play an awful lot. Well, here's another opportunity, and I think that's what's going to be. I think it's more important for the guys that have maybe seen that and been part of the Cup run. But I think it's going to be more important for guys like Kapanen and guys like Verana that they're getting another opportunity to prove to this organization and the fans here that they're really good players and that they can. Make this team into a championship team. So obviously, it's always nice to have that cup, but it's really now it's 4 years ago, and I think the guys realize that they got to do things right now to make sure that things happen in the future.
Hall of Famer Bernie Federko, it's always great to hear your voice. Thanks so much for the time. We appreciate it. We'll see you next week on Bally, but we'll see you at the rink too. Take care. That is the Hall of Famer, Bernie Federko, on the opening drive on 101 ESPN. Coming up, we've got the fight, and we probably need a fighter. Text in to 314-399-9646, 314-399-YO-HO. Text into that number with your name and the word fight, and maybe you'll fight us here on 101 ESPN. I've been talking to you about Metro and MetroLink, and I know a lot of people don't ride it. They're drivers. We're a driving city. But even if you don't use Metro yourself, there are a lot of reasons to recommend it. And I use it for especially busy hockey and baseball games. We know opening night next week for the Blues is going to be really busy, and parking can be a hassle, and it can be expensive downtown. You can alleviate a lot of the hassle by just heading on over to one of their garages. For me, they have garages in Clayton and in Richmond Heights, but if you want to go over to the Umsel area, a lot of great places to park, and then it's cheap, just $5 round trip to take the MetroLink to any game you're going to go to, whether it's the playoffs for St. Louis City or the Blues opener. MetroLink is a great way to go. It's a great way to support your community. Riding the Metro supports local business and helps reduce traffic congestion and reduces our footprint in terms of what we're doing to the environment. Your carbon footprint will be greatly reduced by using MetroLink, and you can explore the city without the stress of driving. Metro can take you to pretty much all of the popular attractions and events. It's MetroLink. I use it, and I hope you will too. In short, thanks to Metro, you don't have to drive to thrive.
This is Rocc with your Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. Last night, STL City SC in action for their penultimate game of the season, and they fall to the Vancouver Whitecaps 3-0. They will be back in action in just over 2 weeks when they face off against Seattle at City Park. They will have a inter-squad scrimmage with some of the Academy and STL2 players sometime next week. Also in action last night, it was wild card games 2, and those are all the wild card games we're going to need in Major League Baseball. As the Twins down the Blue Jays 2-0, they win that series 2-0. Rangers over the Rays 7-1, they win that series 2-0. Marlins get down by the Phillies 7-1. Phillies also win that series 2-0. And if you notice a trend here, the Diamondbacks win 5-2 over the Brewers, and they take that series also 2-0. The next round of the MLB playoffs starts soon. That is your Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, an independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
Welcome to the fight. In the red corner, Average Joe Listener. And in the blue corner, the undisputed king of Morning Drive. Please welcome Randy Carricker.
Welcome back to the opening drive. I am Kerry Davis, joined by Brooke Grimsley, and it is time for the fight. And our fighter today is Jeremy. Jeremy, how you doing?
Doing good, Kerry. How about yourself?
Doing well. Are you ready to take on Randy Carricker?
Yes, sir.
Have you been paying attention to the NFL and Taylor Swift?
A little bit, yes, sir.
Right, well, I hope so.
Hard not to.
We got a little Swifty trivia here.
There's not a single piece of Swifty trivia.
This is Swifty trivia.
By the way, it'll just be all Taylor Swift trivia. I hope you're ready for that, Jeremy.
Here's your first Taylor Swift trivia question. Which college did both the Kelsey brothers go to, Jason and Travis? Did they play their college football? Is it Michigan State, Rutgers, or Cincinnati?
I'm going to go with Cincinnati.
All right. Christian McCaffrey has 12 career games with both a touchdown run and a touchdown catch. Who is the only running back with more? Is it Roger Craig, Marshall Faulk, or Austin Eckler?
Marshall Faulk.
On this day in 2005, the Great One coached his first NHL game. Which franchise did Wayne Gretzky coach? Was it the Thrashers, the Oilers, or the Coyotes?
Coyotes.
Final question. The Twins broke their streak of 9 straight postseason series losses last night, coming up just short of the Major League Baseball record of 10, currently held by 2 National League squads. One is the Braves. Who is the other franchise to lose 10 straight postseason series? Is it the Mets, the Cubs, or the Rockies?
Colorado Rockies.
All right, we will double-check our score, and we will bring in Randy Carricker.
Jeremy, how you feeling?
Yeah, 50-50 there.
I guess it wasn't as much Taylor Swift trivia as I had mentioned to begin with. Just a little bit. Wow. Randy, you got a...
It's almost like you were being a sensationalist who was stirring the pot.
Oh. Or maybe I'm like the NFL and talk about it and, it's not really important. Randy, say hello to Jeremy.
Jeremy, good morning. How you doing?
Doing great, Randy. How about yourself?
I'm doing wonderful. Thanks for listening. Thanks for playing.
All right, Randy, you ready to go?
Ready.
Which college did both the Kelsey brothers, Jason and Travis, play their college football?
University of Cincinnati. One of them got suspended for smoking marijuana.
Which one would that be?
It'd be the one that's dating Taylor Swift.
Oh, okay.
There you go. She likes bad boys. There you go.
Yeah. Ooh.
Bad boys.
You don't want to say that. Swifty's listening in the car on the way to school.
He got suspended. It's a matter of he said it on his podcast.
That's an interesting story.
They're going to be attacking Travis in a minute.
Sorry.
Christian McCaffrey has 12 career games with both a touchdown run and a touchdown catch. Who is the only running back with more?
I'm going to guess Marshall Faulk. Since every single one of those questions, the answer is Marshall Faulk, like all of them.
Sometimes it's LaDainian Tomlinson.
Yeah, it's true. You
all got on me that I picked Edgerrin James over LT that one day.
Yeah. You know what? I'll tell you something. As awesome as Marshall Faulk was as a player, and as much as I appreciated what was happening as it was happening, and Mike Martz always said, hey, appreciate this because we're in a special place and time. as it was happening, I did not realize how awesome Marshall Faulk was.
Oh, yeah. He was
awesome.
He's pretty good. All right, Randy. On this day in 2005, the Great One coached his first NHL game. Which franchise did Wayne Gretzky coach?
I believe he may have coached our own Jamie Rivers with the then Phoenix Coyotes. It was the Coyotes. I don't know if they were Arizona or Phoenix. I think they might have been Phoenix at that point. He also coached Brett Hull with the Coyotes.
Very nice.
Mm-hmm. Then Hully retired after like 8 games or something.
Final question. The Twins broke their streak of 9 straight postseason series losses last night, coming up just short of the Major League Baseball record of 10, currently held by 2 National League squads. One is the Braves. Who is the other franchise who lose 10 straight postseason series?
Lose 10 straight postseason series. That is difficult to do. I'm going to say it's not the Brewers or the Reds. I'm going to leave the Pirates there as a possibility. Not the Cardinals nor the Cubs. Dodgers, Padres. Padres lost a lot. Dodgers, Padres, Giants, no. Even though the Cardinals beat up on them a lot in the 80s. And then not the Rockies or the Diamondbacks, I don't think. And then in the East, I'm going to say it's none of the Eastern Division teams. So I'm thinking Padres or Pirates here. And I don't think the Pirates were in enough. So I'm going to go with the Padres.
All right, we have a very high-scoring tiebreaker in the fight today. So we will go to our tiebreaker question, and it's pretty simple. I'm going to read out the question. We'll give Randy Carricker a moment to write down his answer. Once we have confirmed that Randy has written down his answer, Jeremy, that's when you then can give your answer audibly. We will then reveal what Randy's guessing, and whoever is closest to the pin is going to be the winner of today's fight. Jeremy, do you understand those rules?
Yes, sir. Ready to go.
Randy, do you understand the rules?
I understand the rules.
Do you have a pen and paper?
I have a pen and I have paper.
All right. Ted Williams holds the Major League Baseball and American League.
He hit some frozen ropes, man.
Ted Williams holds the MLB
splendid winter
and AL record for RBI by a rookie. How many did he hit in his rookie year? How many RBI did RBIs did Ted Williams have in his rookie year, which still stands as the MLB and AL record for rookies? Randy Carricker has given us his guess. Jeremy, what is your guess, sir?
I'm going to go 108.
All right, we have a win. Wait, do a little math. Yes, we have a winner in today's fight.
Thursdays building up the drama.
I got it a little bit.
You know what's really sad?
You had to do math on that one?
He
wants the drama.
What are you doing to me, man?
Just asking, man.
People don't know this.
He would have had more.
They're going to know it in a second.
Yeah.
So how about that?
Yeah.
In about 5 seconds, they're going to ask the same question that I asked. You had to do math
Here's the thing.
on that?
Ted Williams, I believe he missed like 5 games with a head cold.
Oh, Randy. He still got that, doesn't he?
Stop.
All right.
He still has that. It's a lingering issue.
Is the master of the dad joke the winner of the fight once again, or does Jeremy just do us all a favor and dethrone him on this Thursday ring?
Oh, my God.
That bell.
The winner and still champion of the fight, Randy Carricker.
Just win, baby.
Randy, you won the tiebreaker today. The guess from Jeremy was 108. What was your guess? Can you hold it up to the camera, please?
Yeah, my guess was 148.
Your guess was 148.
And what's the
correct
number?
answer is 145.
How's that math working out for you?
Hey, math is hard, CD. Math is hard.
I'm going to turn your microphone and therefore camera off, CD. The correct answer, Ted Williams holds the MLB and AL record for RBI by a rookie, and he hit 145 in his rookie year, so Randy wins the fight.
Well,
today.
and you know
It was
what's
a
amazing?
3-3 tie.
What year did he do that?
Oh, God bless America.
1939?
I believe
He was a
so,
rookie?
yes.
And he's still ahead.
Oh.
He's just.
Why would you want
He's
to?
just that.
And why would you want to turn off CD's camera and mic? Are you trying to freeze him out or something?
Well played.
I will read these questions solo. Anyhow, Jeremy, it was close. He took him to the tiebreaker, but unfortunately, he did beat you by. He just got 3 over the correct answer. I guess a lot of math wasn't needed.
Yeah, every dog has its day. If it was been a football question, I might have been able to take him out.
Fair enough, Jeremy. That's the way the cookie crumbles. Let's go through those questions and answers. Which college did both the Kelsey brothers, Jason and Travis, play their college football? It's Travis's birthday today. I don't see how this is a Taylor Swift question, but they both played their ball at Cincinnati. Travis, by the way, started out as a quarterback, was then suspended by Brooks' favorite college coach ever, Butch Jones, for marijuana use, and then he came back and he played tight end. You're a big Butch Jones fans, right?
No, the Butch Jones era was terrible.
Oh, okay.
Terrible.
I love that.
Yeah.
As the bumper sticker says, the Butch Jones error.
Error, yes. We try to forget about that.
It's my favorite era of Tennessee football, right alongside Greg Schiano. And Christian McCaffrey has 12 career games with both a TD run and a TD catch. Who is the only running back with more? Obviously, it's Marshall Faulk. That's the answer. On this day in 2005, the Great One coached his first NHL game. It was, in fact, with the Coyotes, and, man, it was a great 4 years there. And the Twins broke their streak of 9 straight postseason series losses last night, coming up just short of the MLB record of 10, currently held by 2 NL squads. The Braves, by the way, set that record from 2001 to 2016. The other team to hold it are the Chicago Cubs, who set that record from 1908 to 2009. It took the Braves 15 years to do it. It took the Cubs 100 years to lose 10 straight postseason series. So those are your 2 teams. They obviously would eventually break it. And Randy Carricker walks away with a 3-3 tie win and then a win in the tiebreaker. Thank you, Jeremy, so much for joining the fight and joining the show.
I appreciate you guys having me on.
Good job, Jeremy.
Okay, so here's what happened. There was a contract for Ted Williams, okay? And John Henry Williams, his son, and Claudia, they claim that they and Dad all agreed to be put in biostasis after we die. And the quote was, "This is what we want, to be able to be together in the future, even if it's only a chance." It's hard to get together after the head is separated from the body.
I think so. How does that? I don't even know. I don't know.
You're intrigued to know how it works?
Yeah, if you know, yes, a little bit. I want to know what the thought process was behind that.
Well, Kerry, if you can defeat the Nazis, you can do just about anything.
Well, what they did is they're freezing him with cryonics.
But just his head.
But you're dead is the thing. Like you're
so
dead.
they're preserving the DNA essentially so that you can clone
They
him.
couldn't save an arm.
The body is saved somewhere.
Well, then you can pick your body. Then you can pick your body, and
So
it's
you're
like
gonna put this head
just
on a random
ripped,
body?
Yeah.
Or I think it's more
Ripped
like,
body.
I think to Randy's point, I think it's that, the DNA and everything is alive, so then you can just like put them into a computer and a robot one day.
The
singularity,
like
Kerry, the
that.
singularity.
The body
I
itself.
watched iRobot. I don't want that.
According to a book, the body stands upright in a 9-foot-tall cylindrical steel tank, also filled with liquid nitrogen.
How much do you think that costs a year?
$136,000
A year?
Oh my
That's it?
God.
It's not a lot.
Yep,
That's not bad.
that's not bad.
I feel like there might be better use of your money. I don't know.
It's not bad. I was thinking maybe
a milli.
Yeah.
And by the way, at the other end of the spectrum, Ted Williams' signature, along with John Henry and Claudia's, had appeared at the bottom of a handwritten note dated more than 3 years after he died, asking to be cremated.
Oh. He's going to be mad about that when he comes back.
Yes, he is.
Until he gets to pick his body out and be like, well,
So now you know. We got to get to Mike Kelly next. Mizzou and we're just talking about frozen heads here. Mike Kelly, the voice of the Tigers, next on 101 ESPN.
Feed the Tigers on the opening drive. This is the Morning Zoo on 101 ESPN.
Brought to you by James Carlton of State Farm. Mention Mizzou to James when you request a quote, and he will donate $20 to Mizzou's preferred NIL on your behalf. CarltonInsurance.net.
Every week we're getting a little bit better, and again, your confidence comes from your preparation. I think the way these guys have attacked practice on Tuesdays and Wednesdays gives them a lot of confidence to execute. I think we go against a very good defense, and we get our good on good segments in, and it's a real battle each and every week. And I think our guys are starting to become more and more confident in the schemes. I think Kirby's more and more confident in the players executing the schemes that he wants to call, and I think it's been good growth.
That's Mizzou head coach Eli Drinkwitz, his team taking on LSU, the biggest game at Faurot Field in some time, Saturday morning at 11. And joining us now is the voice of the Mizzou Tigers on the Tiger Network. He works with Howard Richards every Saturday. It's our old friend Mike Kelly. Good morning, Michael. How you doing?
Yeah, hold on. Wait. Yeah, I couldn't believe it. Like, Jacksonville State came back from a huge deficit to beat Middle Tennessee. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, man. It didn't. Middle Tennessee. Yeah, they're 1-5.
You didn't go on.
You did not forget about that, did you? Huh?
Hold on. I'm sorry. I'm having another card. Yeah. Can you believe they're 1-5? I don't know if he's going to lose his job.
Mike, no.
Proud of you. Very nice. Well done. Yeah, we appreciate it.
And I don't even have a comeback. That's the thing. There's nothing I can say at this point either. It's not good.
Mike, I
got a lot of sleep last night.
Mike, I'm looking at this offense and what Kirby Moore is doing. They look more explosive. They seem to have a better understanding and a better grasp of what's going on. And Brady Cook has been playing extremely well. What have you seen from them in comparison to last season?
Wait. Can you say that last part one more time? What did you say about the quarterback?
I said Brady Cook has been playing extremely well. What have you seen from them in comparison to – I'll give credit where credit is due. I like what he's been doing.
I kind of have a long memory, as I just may have indicated. And I remember the last time that I was on, is Brady Cook really the guy?
Well, that was not us. That was Coach Eli Drinkwitz that put "or" next to their names in the book. We didn't do that.
Oh, you know what? As he said, first of all, let's look. I sent this note to Randy earlier this week. I mean, Brady Cook last 74 of 101, 1,092 yards, 8 touchdowns, no interceptions. The last 11 games, 19 touchdowns. 63% completion, no interceptions. So he's playing at a high level. Obviously, the offensive line I think is getting him better. Missouri just added an analyst, a long-time, 30-year plus former line coach JB Grimes, who was at Auburn for many years and was at Missouri, back under Warren Powers back in the early 80s. But so how much of an influence is he having with Brandon Jones working with those guys? That remains to be seen. But I think the offensive line is getting better. I think the offense, overall is starting to understand, things each and every week a little bit better. I mean, the emergence, what Luther Burden is doing, the consistency in the run game, what Theo Weiss is doing now, it continues to evolve. And I think the big good news is that it gets better each week, but there's so much more that they can improve on. I mean, like, for instance, up front, the offensive line has got to cut down on the number of penalties. And then, you got to be able to execute too. There are certain drive-killing plays, and penalties are one, drop passes are another, quarterback pressures, et cetera. I just think it's an offense that as the season has progressed has played better and is getting confidence. And I know that's a long-winded response to your question. I apologize for that.
No, it made a lot of sense. It sounds good. But you mentioned Luther Burden there, and he was able to surpass 100 yards again in a game. And then you mentioned Theo Weiss Jr., and that was, something else that I think people are wanting to see as we get into SEC play is if there would be another receiver that really emerges. What have you thought of Theo Weiss Jr.? And obviously he passed the century mark in that last one.
Brooke, I think he's had more influence on the room that he's had on the football field so far. What I mean by that is that his influence, being a veteran player, having played, at Oklahoma, having played with the likes like CeeDee Lamb, I think he's a guy that brought a wealth of experience, has taught these guys, little tweaks and nuances, has helped them in terms of preparation with film study and things like that. Has developed a bond with Luther that I think and I'd be interested to hear Luther, and I haven't had a chance to talk to him about that, but I'd be interested to hear Luther talk about the influence that Theo's had on Luther, not on the field, but off the field. Eli on Tuesday talked about Luther, and if you eliminate the drama outside the field, then the drama comes down on the field. And, he talked about how Luther's, preparing his body the right way now, and how he's not eating Skittles all the time, and how nutrition is important, and preparation, and he dropped weight during the off season. And I'd be interested to know from Luther how much of an influence in that area Theo has had on him, because we had Theo on a show Tuesday night, and he's just a really mature kid, very humble, and has really kind of come in and become a leader of that group off the field, which, for a guy that's in his first year, I think that's pretty impressive.
Mike Kelly, the voice of the Tigers, with us on 101 ESPN. And Michael, in a game like this, it can come down very easily to what are little things that turn into big things. Both of these teams are +1 in the turnover ratio. LSU is one of the least penalized teams in the country, and that's one thing that every week, as I listen to you and Howard, you talk about with Mizzou, is that they have to cut down on the penalties, and especially in a game like this, that's going to be key, isn't it?
No, it's going to be huge. I mean, penalties, Pinkel used to always call the turnover the great equalizer in college athletics, college sports, college football in particular. That's huge. I mean, the impact that the crowd can make, a sold-out crowd, 11 o'clock game, can they actually put down their beer and get into the stadium before kickoff? I think that's a challenge for Missouri fans. Can they make the place as loud as they possibly can from start to finish? LSU had to take 2 timeouts last week at Ole Miss because they couldn't get set because of the crowd noise. So that's a way the crowd can impact it. But yeah, penalties they're just drive killers. And last week it was more than 70 yards, I think, of field position. And so you got to be better in that regard.
What does this game mean for Eli Drinkwitz? It feels like it's one of the biggest games that we've seen in his career up until this point. Do you feel that way for him as a head coach?
No, I feel like it's a great opportunity. I feel like it's all right. So if we're honest with ourselves, right? LSU is one of the historical national brands in our conference. 4 years removed from a national championship, coached by a guy who has put together 6 consecutive 10-win or more seasons, going back to his days at Notre Dame. It's a great opportunity to showcase to not only the rest of the league but the country that Missouri can play on the same stage, and I think that's the thing that comes into play. Eli Drinkwitz is going to be the head coach of Missouri for years to come, unless somebody comes in and decides that they want to try to lure him somewhere else. His team has done what it's supposed to do through the first 5 games. Now, again, I always like to use the phrase, if we're all being honest with ourselves, Missouri had to go 5-0 to start the season because 4 of the next 5 games are against ranked opponents. And if you don't take care of business in this league, in 6 weeks, you could be 5-5. That's just the way, that's the reality in which we play every single week in the Southeastern Conference. So, and you don't know what the future holds in terms of penalty or in terms of injuries to key players and things like that. So 5-5 was of the utmost importance. 5-5 was the thing. 5-0 was the utmost important. 5-0 was the thing that I heard from every single Missouri fan during the offseason. Mm-hmm. Schedule came out. Oh man, we're going to be 5-0 and hosting LSU. Okay, now you got it. Now you have a sold-out stadium. Back-to-back games sold out. That's great. But now you got to bring it. And I'll be interested to see with an 11 a.m. kickoff. If they can, because historically, right, it says that sometimes 11 a.m. kickoff favors the visiting team because the home fans are a little groggy, a little tired, a little slow getting into the building. And can Missouri fans prove everybody wrong and be there early and bring the heat from the get-go?
Obviously, offense always gets a lot of the credit, but what Blake Baker has been able to do with things defensively for Mizzou has been really impressive to me, especially with their front seven with Robinson and Hopper. What have you made of everything with Baker and his progression with defense?
It still can be better. 8th in the country right now in terms of, rush yards allowed per game. Total offense ranked 29th in the country at 317, 89 in pass offense. I think they would tell you they've got to be better on the back end. As Eli said after the win against Memphis, the biggest issue with Missouri's pass defense is they play man-to-man but don't cover people. And again, an honest assessment, but can be better. Interceptions in each of the last 3 games, have yet to force a fumble, though. That maybe speaks a little bit. I think it's great that Chad Bailey's healthy now and that he's back at linebacker with Tyron Hopper. Particularly in this game, your defensive front in this game has to be really, really good, and you can't lose contain, and you've got to play assignment football, because if Jaden Daniels senses just a little bit of an opening, he is through and into second level and into space before you can blink an eye, and in the open field, he's got Brad Smith tendencies running the football. And so you got to be really, really good and fundamentally sound against LSU this weekend.
Mike Kelly, you and Howard Richards and Chris Gervino and your entire crew do amazing work. We'll be tuned in on Saturday. Thanks so much for the time. We appreciate it. Enjoy it. And let's get another home win against LSU.
Would be fun. Let's do it. Again, great that the place is sold out, and from the time pregame warmups begin, hopefully the crowd is enthusiastic and ready to go.
Absolutely. Thank you, Michael.
All right, brother. See you.
See you soon. Take care. That is the great Mike Kelly, the voice of the Tigers. And you can hear him on the Tiger Network on the Big 550 on Saturday morning at 11 o'clock. Next up, we've got our Rush Hour Reset on 101 ESPN.
Hey, it's Kerry, and if you're in need of a deck, I got great news for you. My friends at STL Design and Build can help you. I told you all I've been going through this process. Well, yesterday I woke up, I left for work, I had a deck, got home yesterday after work, didn't have a deck. They tore it down in one day, and they are in the process of building my new one. It has been fantastic. It has been everything that I could ask for, what I'm looking for. The project coordinator, Becky, has been with me every single step of the way. She asked me yesterday, were we able to approve a few things? And through the Builder Trend app, they sent me the request. I was able to approve it. In the amount of time that it takes you to open up your phone, go to your favorite app, I was able to approve something new for my deck and get it done that quickly. It's been that great for me. So if you need a new deck, STL Design and Build is the company for you. The STL, obviously, the owners are from St. Louis, so it stands for St. Louis, but it also stands for Sky's the Limit, because that's what they will give you: the best prices, the best offers, and the best deal, and get the work done in an effective, efficient time of manner. You need them. They have been great for me. STLDesignandBuild.com. Check them out today.
Recapping the biggest sports stories of the day on the opening drive with a Rush Hour Reset.
9:06 in St. Louis. Your time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. Brooke Grimsley, Kerry Davis, Randy Carricker, and the second round of the MLB playoffs is set after each of the first round series, the wild card round, were sweeps. The Rangers knocking off the Rays yesterday, 7-1. Adolis Garcia hitting the home run that put the Rangers ahead for good. They never gave up the lead. Nathan Eovaldi was terrific. Rangers win at 7-1, and they eliminate the Rays. It was the Twins and Sonny Gray and the bullpen over the Blue Jays by a score of 2-0. The Blue Jays taking out their pitcher, Jose Barrios, after 3 really solid innings, and they wind up losing 2-0, and so the Twins advance. The Diamondbacks over the Brewers 5-2, so the D-backs eliminate the National League Central champs, and last night, the Phillies over the Marlins by a score of 7-1. Future Cardinal Aaron Nola was outstanding for the Philadelphia Phillies. 7 innings, no runs, 3 hits. He struck out 3 and walked only 1.
Yeah, I just tried my best to follow Wheels up. He set the tone in game 1. Obviously, he dealt as usual, and it's a big win for us. But just tried to stay within myself tonight and make my pitches all night, and I try to do anything crazy. Just try to stay consistent throughout the night and fill up the zone as best as possible and try to keep those guys on the ground. I mean, I'm pretty familiar with them, and they're pretty familiar with me.
Just an estimate, how much extra money do you think that he added to his offseason with that performance last night?
I would say a minimum of $500,000 over 7 years. $500,000 a year over 7 years.
To add to.
Yeah, so $3.5 million.
So we're looking at $33 million a year now? 32 to 33?
I would say that he's going to be in that area, yep.
You think so I think the Phillies are going to match whatever is
their owner likes to spend what he calls stupid money.
There you go. And match or go above and beyond if need be to keep those two, Wheeler and Nola, together. So if you're the St. Louis Cardinals, you are going to $28 million a year is it's going to be a starting point if that's what you come in with.
It'll be far and away your highest paid starting pitcher ever.
And so, therefore, if you're the St. Louis Cardinals, you're going to have to spend some money.
Yeah.
And you're going to have to match
a lot of money.
or go above and beyond what the Philadelphia Phillies may be willing to spend.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of money, but I agree with what Greg and with what you guys have been saying. I mean, he's a workhorse. That's what you want, and that's what you feel like you need for the Cardinals going into next season for the starting rotation. Now, I know that there's reports, and Derek Gould was reporting this, that the Cardinals are looking at Sonny Gray and Aaron Nola. What do you think the percentage is of them getting both of them? Or is it just going to be one of the other?
Zero.
One of the other?
0%. I think it's probably a 30% chance that they get one or the other.
Yeah, I would think so,
and that might be high.
Yeah.
I just don't. That's the frustrating part for me, because you have a track record of what we've known to spend or been willing to spend.
Mm-hmm.
You know what the need is, but you also there's this notion that I think sometimes St. Louis Cardinal fans believe we can just trade anybody and the other team will trade their best player. No, that's not how it works.
Darn it.
It doesn't work that because you're the St. Louis Cardinals and you're the best fans in baseball, you can just throw a contract out there and they're going to jump at it. It does not work, because there are going to be other teams vying for that person's talent as well. So it's a competitive market. You have to go above the number that another team put on the table.
So go ahead, Brooke.
No, I was going to agree exactly like that. And there's not much pitching inventory out there. I mean, it's depleted with Shohei Ohtani and then the whole Urias situation. You don't know how that's going to play out, but I think obviously he's not going to be coming back. So that's just going to continue to drive up that market. If you're Sonny Gray and you're Aaron Nola, you have to be just beaming with excitement because you know how much money you're about to get.
Here's the way the division series starts off on Saturday. Texas at Baltimore is a noon game on Saturday. Here's St. Louis time. Minnesota at Houston play at 3:45. Philly at Atlanta at 5:07. And then Arizona at the Dodgers at 8:20. St. Louis time on Saturday. That's the division series. St. Louis City SC lost last night to Van Blankencover 3-0. So Van Blankencover with a Van Blanking shutout, or a clean sheet, as they call it.
It's okay. We're still the number one seed.
We're fine. But Orlando City moved above STL for the second overall league total with 57 points. So St. Louis City is going to need a couple of teams to fall by the wayside to have the home pitch for the championship game, the MLS Cup Championship.
Yes, and that's what you want, because we've seen that they perform pretty well at home.
By the way, I did a little dive into South African soccer because I was very confused. We got some text messages after Bradley's appearance. Apparently, they use a lot of American terms. They don't use a lot of the Euro terms in South Africa.
Nice.
And so I think that explains why Bradley Carnell is more apt to say field, zero.
Okay.
There are a couple things. They do call it training. I did find out. I saw like a post from one of their teams that talked about their training. So there are some things. It's kind of like a mishmash. I thought South Africa would be very Euro kind of culture-wise, even with their soccer. But no, apparently when you translate it, their league calls itself a soccer league, not a football league.
Table or standings?
I think it's still a table.
Okay.
And so I finally figured out why Bradley's maybe a little bit more Americanized than we expected. He's South Africanized.
I don't know if he said Americanized is South Africanized. Or maybe it's just the way that they say it.
Well, yeah, exactly. Blues hockey tonight. They're at Dallas to take on the Stars. Who else are they going to take on in Dallas? That is a 6 o'clock pregame here on 101 ESPN. You also have on Amazon Prime 7:20. Make it an appointment. Yep.
Can't wait for this one.
You've got the Chicago Bears and the Washington Commanders, formerly the Washington football team. Sam Howell.
Eric Bieniemy is going to have those guys playing offense well, I think.
Yeah. And Luke Getsy will have those guys playing offense. Alan Williams will have his guys playing.
He's not there anymore.
Oh, he's not there.
He stepped away.
Oh, he wants to come back? No.
I don't know.
Okay.
Interesting.
Good. So you have that tonight. That's your, holy smoke. That's your Thursday night game.
Would you be able to pick Eberflus out of a lineup if they gave you 3 chances?
Yeah, I can.
You can?
Because I covered Mizzou, when he was there. So
you think the casual Bear fan will be able to?
Unfortunately for them, yes. But
unfortunately for them, yes.
They would rather. Is Mike Ditka? He's still with us, right? They would rather have him coaching. I'm sure.
I don't know. Mike Ditka traded an entire draft for Ricky Williams, and
Bears
home.
fans would still rather have
went
Mike
home.
Ditka. I know.
Checked out.
Wearing a Hawaiian shirt. Yeah.
What are they doing?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. What are they doing? Hey, you can check us out, by the way. Check us out on the YouTube. All you need to do is go to youtube.com and type in 101 ESPN STL. You can watch us on YouTube every day, every show. And We're brought to you on YouTube by Air Alliance Team, so check us out and watch us and subscribe to the 101 ESPN page on YouTube, and we are there now. Yeah, we got kicked off for a while, but we're back, baby.
We're back.
Yeah,
we're not trying to be anybody else. We're not imposters, as they tried to state.
Best version of ourselves every day.
Yes,
We are back, baby. We are back. We are back. That's a good thing.
It is.
There's your Rush Hour Reset on 101 ESPN. Coming up, our Blues insider, Jeremy Rutherford from The Athletic, is next on 101 ESPN.
Hey, Tiger fans. This is Mizzou wide receiver Luther Burton III. Come support Mizzou NIL and get a quote from my friend James Carlton.
Thanks, Luther. If your insurance rates have gone up, let me see if I can save you money, especially if you have drivers under the age of 25. You will get 5-star local customer service when you work with our office. If you mention Luther's name, we'll make a donation to Mizzou's preferred NIL on your behalf.
Come support Mizzou NIL and get a quote from my friend James Carlton.
Check us out online at carltoninsurance.net.
MIZZOU.
Due to overwhelming response, Diamonds Direct's most popular finance offer ever is being extended. You now have until this Saturday at 5 p.m. to take advantage of this once-a-year offer. Now through Saturday, make any purchase and you can spread your payments over 5 years with 0 finance charges. No interest for 5 whole years. Where else in America can you get a finance rate of 0.0? That means a $10,000 engagement ring is just $167 a month, or an $8,000 pair of diamond stud earrings comes to around $135 a month. Everything's included. Rings, earrings, bands, bracelets, pendants, all designer fashion jewelry, colored gemstone jewelry, GIA certified diamonds. With interest rates going higher and higher everywhere else, Diamonds Direct comes to the rescue with this spectacular offer. But you must hurry. This special opportunity ends this Saturday and will not be extended again. 5 years, 0 interest on anything and everything. Get all the details, showroom hours, and directions at diamondsdirect.com. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
Notes and nuggets. It's time for the Rutherford Report with our Blues insider, Jeremy Rutherford. Brought to you by Scott Lee Heating Company, a proud Mitsubishi Electric Elite contractor.
Well, let me tell you what I think about some of the Athletics rankings, Brooke. I don't think Here's what the Athletic, they do a fantastic job. And our guy, Jeremy Rutherford, we know he does amazing work over at the Athletic. When they do these ranking polls, it never seems to be accurate, in my opinion. And not just because they're Blues players that don't get ranked the right way or they don't like the Blues team overall, is they select a bunch of numbers and they plug them in, and that's just the equation. It's like, okay, well, this is the numbers here, and that's where they rank.
That is our colleague, our partner, our friend, Jamie Rivers, now the analyst for Blues hockey on Bally Sports. And joining us now from the aforementioned Athletic is Jeremy Rutherford, who, Jamie said, does fantastic work at the Athletic and as our Blues insider. Good morning, JR. How you doing?
Good morning. Good morning. And I was listening to the interview with Riv yesterday, and I was glad that he qualified that statement there.
So where do you rank the Blues center duo? Do you think they're below average?
You know, it's funny because we do have a group of writers, 3 or 4 of them, that write those types of pieces nationally, and they compare all the teams and rank them. And, you know, I'm interested to find out where they have the Blues a lot of times, so I'll click on the article, and sometimes I keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. And so, when I got down to 26 yesterday with Robert Thomas and Braden Shen being the 2 centers, I felt, honestly, and Harmon's a friend of mine, if he were here, I'd tell him the same thing, I felt like they should be a little bit higher. Like, they're not top 10 when you start talking about some of these teams, but I think they're probably in the middle of the pack.
Well, Jeremy, I mean, it does seem that way, that sometimes, and you do fantastic work. And I love The Athletic because articles like this always get me kind of riled up, because then I go to The Athletic today, and then this is one of the articles that I see that's just came out. It says, finding hope for the NHL's top most hopeless teams. And the Blues are one of the teams that they have listed there. They're predicting just 80 points and an 8% chance of the Blues making the playoffs this season.
Brooke, there's another article. It's so funny because I see that headline today, and we as the writers in the city, like, I don't have any idea that article's coming. It's somebody else that's working on it. And so I see the headline, and I see most desperate teams, and I start to scroll down, and I'm like, please don't have the Blues on this, because I'm going to hear about it from the fans here. But obviously, you know, being towards the bottom last year, not making the playoffs, they were definitely among the top 10. And the projection last year for the Blues with your friend Dom's model was 92 points, and they finished, of course, with 81. And so this year Dom had them at about 80 points. So they fit in that bottom 10. Look, I mean, we can all be truthful with ourselves here, as Mike Kelly just said a few minutes ago, is if you're being honest, then you have to understand that this is a team that has a lot to prove, and there's a lot of question marks that, even though we've seen a bit of preseason here, we still need to see once the regular season starts.
Would Dom have taken Barrios out after 3 innings?
I think he might have tweeted. There were a lot of Canadian hockey writers that I follow on Twitter that were tweeting, this is absolutely insane. And it is. What do you not learn from the Snell situation a couple years ago?
It's amazing that people didn't learn from that.
It's a very great question that we were all wondering this morning. But just a follow-up to that, they do say in the article that kind of a caveat with the Blues' success this season has a lot to do with Jordan Kyrou and Robert Thomas taking a big step forward, a big leap forward this season. I think everybody feels that way, right?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the bottom line is that those two are going to have to. They are basically, I don't want to say the team up front, because you have Pavel Buchnevich, who could be your MVP. But when you put so many eggs in one basket with the salaries that Kyrou and Thomas are going to make this year and the next 8 years, in total, they have to be those guys. They have to be. You can't have a regression. And in fact, you have to have these guys producing more than they have in the past, which says a lot when you talk about a Jordan Kyrou who scored 37 goals. That's why Robert Thomas has said multiple times this preseason, he's a guy that's going to score 50. I mean, those are the expectations for these guys. And you can talk about size on the third and fourth line like we did a couple weeks ago in the article. You can talk about the defense bouncing back. You can say it's not Jordan Binnington's fault last year. Whatever you want to say, if those two guys don't produce, the Blues can't make the playoffs.
All right, JR, so the Blues finished 6th in the Central Division last year. What is going to make them different this season?
Well, I think it's something that Riv said yesterday. I think it's the emphasis on the defense and playing together. If this team is going to make the playoffs, it's number one is the defense has to play better. And I think that what we've seen in the preseason is that this group is kind of buckling down. And it's a long season, 82 games, and we're not even to game one yet. So they've shown nothing yet. But what we have seen in practice is kind of clogging up that front of the net area, and the forwards kind of getting back and helping and creating layers to get through. The 2 or 3 players, defensemen that I talked to the other day for the article that I wrote, The Athletic, that's what they said. Hey, look, if they're going to get through, they're going to have to get through layers. And I think that was the emphasis this offseason. They bring in Mike Weber, the assistant coach. They're implementing it now. And I don't think it's anything that should take a ton of time to figure out. This isn't something that 2 months into the season we should say, hey, they're still trying to figure out the system. It's pretty basic. They're tweaking things. But I think that the sooner we can see that, obviously, the better.
So as we watch that system unfold, what will we see? What can we look for and recognize that the Blues are doing differently than what they did last year?
Well, number one is going to be those bodies in that slot area. And if everybody remembers back to last year, there weren't any bodies in the slot area except for the opponent. Like, I've never seen anything like it. 19 years of covering the Blues, and I've never seen so many forwards from the other team wide open in the slot, passes going through the crease, no sticks on them, nothing. And so I think number one is there's going to be bodies in that spot. And Randy, if it works and if they're successful, then you're going to see a lot of opponents moving the puck around the outside, trying to crack it. And then it's going to be up to the Blues to stay disciplined, not get out there and chase them, and not make it easy to get into that slot area. And it's not going to be perfect. There's going to be, wide open shots, high danger shots. We're going to see all that stuff this year. But I think if the Blues are doing what they're implementing, there's going to be less of that this year.
Jared, what do you think is left to see from the preseason with the Blues?
Well, you got 2 games left. You're Dallas, tonight, and then you got Chicago on Saturday. What I'm looking to see is who's going to be this third defensive pair. And you look at the top 4, we know what that is. It's going to be Leddy and Parayko. It's going to be Krug and Falk. What they've been running in practice the past couple days is Tyler Tucker and Marco Scandella in one pair, and then you have Perunovich and Bortuzzo in another pair. And could they mix those up and pick 2 guys and put them as the third pair? Yeah, they could, but they've been running a lot of the same pairs, so you'd expect that one of those pairs is going to be that third pair. Who's it going to be? Scott Perunovich, as good as he's played in a lot of these preseason games, is not running one of the power play units right now. It's Torrey Krug on that top unit and Justin Falk running the point on the second unit. Is that a sign that Perunovich isn't going to be on the ice opening night? It could be. And since he's been skating with Bortuzzo, maybe those 2 are the odd guys out. So we'll see in practice today, get another look at it, see who's running that third pair. But I think that's one thing that we're looking at heading into Game 1.
Jared, I think the penalty kill unit left a lot to be desired last year. What have you seen from them this preseason?
Yeah. So it's been okay. Mike Weber, the new assistant coach, he comes in not only as the defensive specialist, the defensive coach, but he's also the PK coach. Mike Van Ryan, who left after the season, had those duties last year. And it was as bad as it gets last year, Kerry. It really was. And, started off good. First couple games, I don't think they gave up a shot on net on the PK. So this year, I think they're going to still be a little aggressive, but at the same time, they got to be responsible. I haven't seen a ton of it. I haven't been at the road preseason games, so full disclosure there. But we'll get a look at it here at home on Saturday against Chicago again and try to see if that's coming along. But there again, I kind of throw that in the defensive category. Defense has to be better. Your penalty kill has to be better. And Mike Weber was brought in to do that too.
JR, you always do great work. Thanks so much for the time. We do appreciate it. Tell Dom we said hi.
Yeah, for sure I will. And hey, I took you to a tiebreaker in the fight today. I can't believe you guys didn't recognize my voice. I gave my name.
I heard you yelling. And then how'd you do on the tiebreaker? Did you go with 148 or 145?
I lost you. No, I was actually on the line with you. I gave my name. No, I'm joking. See you guys.
Wait, one more thing, JR. I don't know if you realize this. I'm sure you've heard this morning. Did you see who St. Louis City SC lost to last night?
Yeah, that was Van, right?
Yeah.
What'd you call him?
Yeah, give us the southern accent.
Vancouver.
Van Blankencover.
Van Blankencover. When you kept saying that earlier, I was thinking of Van Imp. I always talk about Red Berenson scoring those 6 goals, and the Blues from that time used to say that Dan Kelly would say, and Red Berenson, he's by Van Imp. He shoots, he scores again.
It was unbelievable. Have a great day and a great weekend, sir. We appreciate it.
You too. See you guys.
Thanks. Jeremy Rutherford, our Blues insider from The Athletic. Coming up, there's a major league general manager who's happy to say, hey, we just want to make the playoffs. We just want to have a 540 winning percentage, and we just want to make the playoffs, and we'll see how it goes from there. And as you might guess, the fans aren't happy. That's next on 101 ESPN.
Regular season is right around the corner, and you can tune in this Friday from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. to hear BK and Ferrario live from the E&B Granite Studio at the Centene Community Ice Center. This Friday, hear BK and Ferrario live from the Centene Community Ice Center.
Brought to you by Bud Light for the fans on game day, and by E&B Granite, Bernie Federko's only choice for granite countertops, cabinets, and flooring.
This is Steve and Melissa Brown of the Frank Lead Automotive family. We're excited to be this year's walk chairs for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society's Light the Night Walk.
Please join us and our honored hero Lucy on October 14th in Forest Park for an unforgettable evening walk as we bring hope to local blood cancer patients. Participants carry illuminated lanterns, white for survivors, red for supporters, and gold in memory of loved ones.
Together we bring light to the darkness of cancer.
So form a team and learn more at lightthenight.org.
That's lightthenight.org.
Hey, St. Louis, want a great deal on tires? Go to CarX Tire and Auto during their buy three, get one free tire sale. If you need tires, you need CarX Tire and Auto.
Don't worry, call the CarX man.
Restrictions apply. See manager for details.
This is Rocky with your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. Last night, St. Louis City SC in action against Vancouver. They fall 3-0. Their last game of the season will be on August 21st, facing off against Seattle. They will have an inter-squad scrimmage this coming up next week with the 2-week gap. Also coming up tonight, the Blues and the Stars. It's a 7 p.m. puck drop for that preseason game. And last night, all of the wild card series went final. All 2-0 winners. The Blue Jays over the Twins, the Rangers over the Rays, the Phillies over the Marlins, and the Diamondbacks over the Brewers. That is your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff. Find your roads and shop 24/7 at londoff.com and londoffautoplex.com. Are you kidding me?
Live from the Car Shield studio, this is the opening drive on 101 ESPN.
The Seattle Mariners, after last year breaking the longest playoff drought in baseball, returned to missing the playoffs this year. And on the heels of that, Jerry Dipoto, their general manager, said, quote, "We're actually doing the fan base a favor by asking for their patience to win the World Series while we continue to build a sustainably good roster." Fans have been patient there, as you know. And so here's what Jerry Dipoto went on to reveal. His 10-year plan consists of building a team good enough to win 54% of its games. He said, quote, "If you go back and look at in the decade, those teams that win 54% of the time always wind up in the postseason, and they more often than not wind up in the World Series." So there's your bigger picture process. Nobody wants to hear the goal this year is we're going to win 54% of the time, because sometimes 54% is one year you're going to win 60%, another year you're going to win 50%. It's whatever it is. But over time, that type of mindset gets you there. If what you're doing is focusing year to year on what do we have to do to win a World Series this year, you might be one of the teams that's laying in the mud and can't get up for another decade. Well, they talked about that on Seattle Sports Radio with Brock and Salk. And as you might guess, Seattle fans weren't too thrilled.
Let's go to Mark in Maple Valley.
Hey, this isn't going to be popular, but I'm going to speak the truth. The problem with the Mariners is the fans, and here's why. John Stanton dangles fireworks and bobbleheads in front of their faces and runs the team like it's the Oakland Athletics instead of one of the most profitable teams in Major League Baseball, and tells you to your face they're going to challenge for a World Series, and throws out a lineup that has Caballero, Sam Haggerty, Dylan Moore, and Mike Ford at the bottom of the order, a bunch of scrap heap guys, and tells you that we're challenging for a World Series. And yet we come out in droves because we get to go with our families on a sunny day and watch fireworks and bobbleheads and draw over 3 million people a year. And this guy's sitting there with a cigar thinking we're the biggest idiots in the world. If we were in Philly or New York, this wouldn't even be acceptable. But we do it every year. And then we go, oh, we got to love these guys because they almost made it to the playoff. Are you out of your mind? It's unacceptable. But yet 3 million people come in summer here. It's a joke. And until someone holds this guy accountable, until Jerry Dipoto to take his analytic nerd and get the hell out of Seattle and get a guy who can hit 40 bombs that plays first base or right field or left field, maybe we'll make the playoffs. Thank you.
Yes.
Gary Davis is giving that
for that fan.
Standing ovation.
Yes.
That is a man that is frustrated. He wants his team to win, and he doesn't want to be lied to anymore. He's sick of it. He's sick of it. He doesn't want to hear the excuses. He don't want no damn bobbleheads. He don't care about your none of that. Show me with what you put on the field. And that's all you ask for. You want to win championships, you got to put championship lineups. So he started running those names off. I started thinking of a lot of guys that were here this summer that we like, that's not championship level base. And here's the thing. It's no knock against those guys. Those guys know that they are not Hall of Fame caliber players. They are not superstar caliber players. I wasn't. It's a level to every sport. There are the guys that are going to be enshrined, inducted one day. There are the guys that are going to make a couple of all-star games, 3, 4, and be on the brink of potentially being all-stars. There are going to be guys that work their butt off and never make an all-star game, but play 8, 9, 10 years. And then there are going to be guys that are scratching and clawing, trying to stay on the teams, trying to stay in the lineup every single year, and their role is just as vital as the other guys. But to make to assume or make an assumption that they're as important as those all-stars in that day-to-day, no. Because you need superstars to win championships, and you have to build a lineup, a team around those guys where everyone complements one another. And until you do that, you will not win.
Brooke Grimsley, as a Cardinal fan, do you feel like they're doing you a favor by having you be patient before they win another World Series?
If I hear patience at any point next season or this offseason, I think that I might lose my mind. And I think that a lot of people probably feel that way. I just think that what that fan said, that Seattle fan said, was, right on the money, essentially, of how a lot of fans feel. In baseball, I think Cardinals fans can relate to it, because here's the thing. Is Dipoto being honest? Yes. Is it tone deaf? Yes. What he said was tone deaf. I get what he's saying about sustainability, and people do appreciate that, but that's boring. What do the fans want to see? They want a championship. They want to see that not only, of course, you have to be smart and make moves for the long run, but also what are you doing for the right now to capitalize on making sure that you are putting together the best roster, your team in the best position moving forward to win a championship. People don't want to, wait around for that, and they don't want to hear that.
And the only way you ever do your fan base a favor is by winning, and you never tell them you're doing them a favor. They're doing you a favor by showing up. You never say, like Jerry Dipoto did, we're actually doing the fan base a favor. We can stop right there. You never say that to your fan base, that we're actually doing you a favor. And then to rub salt into the wound by asking for their patience to win the World Series while we continue to build a sustainably good roster. They've never won a World Series. They've been around since 1977.
You don't win awards for sustainability.
Won a World Series. No, you don't. They've never been in a World Series.
Yeah, that caller went on a rant, and I loved it. And the best part of it was...
And until someone holds this guy accountable, until Jerry Dipoto to take his analytic nerd and get the hell out of Seattle and get a guy who can hit 40 bombs that plays first base or right field or left field, maybe we'll make the playoff.
Take your analytic nerd and get out of town.
Well, I would suggest to this gentleman that we went out and got a couple of guys to hit 40 bombs and finish first and third in the MVP votings, and it didn't do us any good either.
It's just the analytic nerd. Get the hell out of town.
Yeah.
No, it just doesn't make any sense. And it's not, we're talking about, the stats, nerds, and things like that. But also, how many times have we just talked about, too, having somebody there that maybe a media coach or a human coach that says, hey, this probably isn't going to land well. This sentence specifically is not going to land well with the fan base. It's not going to go over well. This is not how humans talk to each other.
Yeah. Let me give you one other point here. And that is, he says, this would never go over in Philadelphia. After Philadelphia was in the playoffs in 2011 against the Cardinals, they finished in third place, 17 games out, fourth, 23 games out, fifth, 23 games out, fifth, 27 games out, fourth, 24 games out, fifth, 31 games out, third, 10 games out, fourth, 16 games out before they started turning things around. It wasn't acceptable, but was anybody really held accountable by the media or the fans? No. You never heard anybody that had to face a firing squad. It didn't happen. What happens is owners get frustrated, or owners show up like John Middleton did and said, okay, we're going to change the culture here. I'm going to get a guy that only spends money, in Dave Dombrowski, and I don't care how much he spends. And that is the way that they decided to go about building their franchise. Some franchises in bigger markets can do that. Other franchises can try it, like the Padres, but then they got to cut $50 million in payroll after this season because it's not sustainable in a market of San Diego or St. Louis's size to have a $300 million payroll.
No. And here's the thing. You could also look at it as you appreciate Dipoto kind of peeling back the curtain and showing you exactly what they're thinking. But if that is what you're thinking, then I don't think you're really in touch with what the fans want.
No,
whatsoever.
No, so you just don't say it, right? You say, hey, we're in this to try to win a World Series, regardless of whether you are or not. Even if your goal is to win 54% of your games every year, your comment is, we're in this to win the World Series.
But you're not. If you're not, it's evident. Like,
everybody
it's not.
Is. Players are.
Well, management is not always. Management, I told you, management has plans on tanking some years, and they forget to tell the players. The Arizona Cardinals have not been told that we're tanking for Caleb Williams because they're playing so hard every single day.
Yeah, but with this particular situation, Seattle, they were in the playoffs last year.
Yeah.
And they went out and they made some
win
since 2001. And it was a good team this year. They finished a game out of the playoffs. They had some injuries. Robbie Ray getting hurt, losing him for the season. If they have Robbie Ray, they probably are in the playoffs. But you can't say we only want to win 54% of the time.
You cannot, especially for a franchise that hasn't been to the playoffs once in 20+ years.
Yeah.
You have to, and then you miss it the following year. You gotta show your fans, as he said, you got 3 million people showing up every year. You need to show them that you care about them as much as they care about you all by putting a product out there and trying to win games.
Interesting.
We're talking about Seattle here.
Oh,
you 3 million fans showing up, and make sure you got guys trotting out there every day that you know who they are.
That might matter.
Doing. I think it helps.
Yeah.
I think it helps.
Do you think that there was points this season where Nolan Arenado and Paul Goldschmidt looked around and they're like, who is this that we're playing with defensively?
Having no idea that they were playing with Hannes Wagner and Willie Mays.
There you go.
Excuse me.
See?
Yes. And Toe Mater.
Learn these things
he was around
in the process.
Great hair.
I just, for the Cardinals, to spin it to the Cardinals side of things, I would prefer that they put a product out there every single game that has the potential to win games. You got to start in the pitchers. Starting with the starting pitching.
Yep.
Make sure that those guys are well prepared and go out there and do their job. Get guys that are competitive. I think you got 2 very competitive guys at the corner infield spots. I think you got one at shortstop. You got to have guys have to be. You have to have a desire and a one. Not saying that all of them don't, but it's evident when someone does.
Right. Yeah.
You can clearly tell.
Yep. Coming up next, we've got rock and roll as we head down the stretch of this edition of the Opening Drive on 101 ESPN.
CarStar, your auto body repair experts with 10 locally owned locations to serve you and a nationwide guarantee.
Hey, it's BK. So your home has made you equity rich on paper.
Hey everyone, it's Brooke here. Ever since I moved here to St. Louis back in 2018, I really loved exploring my new home, and thanks to the Metro, it's so much easier to do. I've lived in other big cities that didn't provide public transportation, and believe me, it led to a lot of congested traffic and just made it harder to get to events like concerts and games, and that's why I love Metro Transit. It's easy to access for everyone, taking you right to Busch Stadium, City Park, Enterprise Center, and more without the hassle of trying to park, wait in traffic, trying to find an Uber. You know how bad those surge prices are. Metro Transit just gets you straight to the action. Even if you haven't given Metro a try yet, it's something that I can promise you other places wish they had available. There's many benefits even if you don't ride. A healthy and vibrant public transportation system helps attract businesses to the area, creating a significant amount of jobs in the region. And of course, it helps many get to their job. Give Metro a chance and experience the benefits for yourself. Thanks to Metro, you don't have to drive to thrive.
Opening drive on 101 ESPN. Matthew, what do you got for us?
Well, it was a bad loss last night for St. Louis City SC, losing to, who'd they lose to? Wait, actually.
Van. Oh. We'll find it.
St. Louis City lost 3-0
Van Blankencouver.
There it is.
Who is that? Is that JR?
Van Blankencouver.
I hope he's still listening and he's wondering that as well. Who said that?
Why didn't he do that earlier? Because we were trying to get him to do it. Was he afraid for us to hear his southern accent?
Might have been. Now we know.
Uh-oh.
Anyhow, they have revealed that playoff tickets are out. Obviously, you have the first 3 rounds. You know, you're guaranteed at least 2 games. You know, you're guaranteed at least 2 games at City Park. Potentially guaranteed. You know, potentially looking at 4, maybe even that magical 5th one as well.
And then the parade. But
here's the thing: 94% of season ticket holders have taken the option to buy tickets for the playoffs.
Only 94.
Oh my god!
So what the heck's going on with the 6%?
That's weird.
If you're a season ticket holder for City, how are you not opting for tickets for the playoffs?
Maybe in November you go to Florida or something?
Is that it? Is it snowbirds?
But you offer them to family members or friends.
Right?
How much do the tickets cost? I want to know. Can you tell me that?
I'm not 100% sure on that.
It doesn't
matter.
I mean, they're going to be.
I want to know.
They're going to be more. Obviously.
I mean, for those that are invested and have been invested all season long, even if it's $1,000 a ticket, you find a way.
No.
If only there was somebody in this room that we knew that had season tickets or access to season tickets. Huh.
Why are you looking at me? I don't have season tickets.
You know somebody that has season tickets.
No, I don't.
You have access to it.
You guys
share.
No.
Share.
You guys are
share.
What are you talking about?
Sharing is caring, Rocc.
I don't know why you're looking at me like I have the connection here.
Just say you don't love us. It's okay.
We've seen the pictures.
Say you don't care.
We've seen the pictures.
We've seen the green seats.
What do
We've
you mean?
seen
Like
the
you're
pictures.
basically on the field. field. It's
Right there.
The Cardinals. That's a completely different sport.
Is it?
You're for both of them. You're like right there in the action. Surprised you don't have dugout seats and stuff.
Must be nice.
Yeah, really.
Unbelievable. But also, St. Louis City SC, it's a movable date for the playoff game because it's across a week where they play other playoff games. But right now, St. Louis City SC has said that they're expecting that their playoff game, their first one, to be between October 29th and November 1st. So not that big of a window to have to hit there. So we're going to be playing playoff soccer here in St. Louis. I'm very excited for it. And speaking of, I want to jump back to our previous topic. We were talking about Jerry Dipoto and our hatred for all things math on this show. This has been a very anti-math
By the way, is one of the few Major League general managers that's a former player.
The irony of it all. And I thought it was interesting. This popped up on when I was looking for reactions to the Dipoto firing, and one of them was former NFL head coach Mike Holmgren, who does a lot of radio up in Seattle, was asked about this situation. Here was Coach Holmgren's reaction to Jerry Dipoto.
Everyone I've listened to today is fired up, and justifiably so. I mean, it's hard for me to believe that someone who has as much experience as he has. That's why I had Gary right. If I'm going into a big press conference or something, you talk about it beforehand so you don't go in there and say something silly. And you know what? Everyone was disappointed. They were disappointed. He was disappointed. That's okay to say. You can go in and say, listen, I heard as much as you do. Mm-hmm. You know, instead of saying, oh, no, we're on the right track and this is the way it should be and all that kind of stuff.
I like Coach Holmgren's answer, but mainly because I think, and we've talked about this before off the air, coaches and executives are getting really bad at talking to the media, and they very much need to do exactly what Holmgren's saying. Have the guy who you powwow with beforehand. All right, what are we expecting? What are they already saying? You know, in the media out there, what should we be expecting? How do we want to answer it? How do we want to frame it? Clearly, we've seen across a lot of coaches lately with the way they talk to the media, that conversation is not happening for a lot of these coaches, and it needs to.
Or here's a thought. Just be a decent human being.
Yeah.
Don't say dumb thing.
Who's not being a decent human being in this situation?
The comment 50, we just plan to win 54%. That's not being.
There's nothing like immoral about his answer.
No,
it's tone deaf.
Because there you go.
It's tone deaf.
It is very tone deaf. It is not knowing. Rocc, you spend how much money to go to a game? If you go to a game, it's expensive. That caller said we take our families to the game. Mm-hmm. That is tone deaf to say, yeah, we half the time you come, maybe we win, maybe we don't. We're okay with that. We're okay with not winning every game that you come to and you spend your hard-earned money to. This might be a game where we only plan to win the 46%. So sorry about it. That's disrespectful to people that are paying their money to show up to watch the game, in my opinion.
One of the best PR people in America is a guy named Tony Wiley. He was with the Rams here. He was with the Titans when they were in the Super Bowl against the Rams. He was the first PR director of the Houston Texans. They actually tried to get him to the league, sent him into Washington. Even Tony couldn't save Dan Snyder. But one of the things that he told us is that after the devastating loss that the Titans had suffered in Super Bowl 34, he goes in and there's McNair and George and Mason. And he says, look, guys, here's what you're going to be asked. Here's what you have to say. And he sent them out, and they were all in tears. He said, just get through this. It'll only be a few minutes, but it's going to be very simple for you. And they went out. The questions that were expected were asked. The answers that were given, and everything was fine, even though they were beside themselves, obviously. Like when Grant Wistrom told me after Super Bowl 36, season's a whole waste. He went 14-2 and went to the Super Bowl, but his first thing is, season's a waste. Well, if you have... And by the way, the Rams did have a good PR staff at that point, but Grant was his own man and felt that was the case. But if you have a quality PR person, and CD, you've been around good ones and bad ones in pro football, and we see it in baseball all the time, the good ones will provide their people, and it's their people, managers, coaches, players, with the right answers.
And then you have some players and coaches that go rogue and say whatever they want to say.
They do.
And so you have to deal with that.
Sometimes it's, I'm just here so I don't get fined. Yeah. That didn't come from a PR person, but it was brilliant.
It was. And that's the thing, media training. And there's a benefit. I know certain people, or a lot of people now, feel a certain way about media. But here's the thing, is that you can control your own narrative in those discussions. If you're Dipoto, you could have controlled that narrative a little bit better.
Easily.
And this is why I think when we talk about analytics and stats, even in the game, we have our feelings about it, but also I feel like it also leads to this kind of stuff where it feels like you're kind of detached to human emotions in a lot of ways, even when trying to relay what you're thinking to the public. And that doesn't land well with people.
And Brooke, you use the term tone deaf. How easy would it have been for him to say, hey, we made the playoffs last year. We planned on making them this year. We're as disappointed as anybody, and we're going to get back next year.
Exactly.
Or we're going to do our best to get back next year.
Yes.
That's all you have to say. Don't give us a percentage.
I'm so glad that instead of that kind of coach speak, he actually said something honest.
Yeah, well,
people
he gave us a segment,
but
didn't he?
I love that he said it. By the way, he's does a show on Brock and Salk at 8:30 Pacific time today. So
10:30.
Around 10:30 today, maybe we'll see some audio. I have a feeling we might even play some tomorrow because I'm really interested to see, does he go straight up still honest, or does he pivot to the, hey, listen, we're as disappointed as you are?
Great job by our producer and audio engineer, the one, the only Matthew Rocchio.
Pleasure.
Brooke, was this fun?
This was fun.
How about that?
How about that? How about that?
CD.
Show us your face. We want to see your face. Who said that? You want to see my face?
Hey, we just want to get into the postseason, and hopefully we'll get hot and make everybody happy. We thank you for tuning in, texting in, and being a part of the show. For all of us, until tomorrow morning at 7, have a great Friday Eve, everyone.
That's right.